want to be the #1 guy in the world again. I mean, that's my goal.
Maybe in the next fight, I'm going to fight for the belt, and I wanted to back to the top.
If I can catch him with something and hurt him a little bit, I'll finish him.
I don't go to give opportunity for him, no. I need to go and go and go, don't go to stop.
Well, that's what he should be trying to do, but I'm going to knock him out. I've said it for a long time, and I'm planning on knocking him out.
I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm sharper than ever, stronger than ever, more powerful than I've ever been.
I feel very comfortable taking this fight with George St. Pierre.
It's going to be all about business, and I'm going to do my job, and my job is going to be to destroy my opponent.
I've already fought George St. Pierre, I've already beat him, and I get to do it again.
This is the only place to be in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada tonight. We are sold out inside the Mandalay Bay Event Center for UFC 79 Nemesis. I can tell you, there was not a ticket to be found as we have two of the most highly anticipated matchups in the history of the UFC. Hi again, everybody. I'm Mike Goldberg. Happy New Year, and welcome once again to the Ultimate Fighting Championship. George St. Pierre, Matt Hughes, Wanderlei Silva, Chuck Liddell. Four of the most dangerous and decorated fighters ever to compete inside the octagon. And tonight, it is for an interim welterweight title, George Rush St. Pierre and Matt Hughes completing the trilogy. And then, the fight we have been waiting years for. Chuck Liddell will meet Wanderlei Silva in a matchup of perhaps the two greatest light heavyweights of all time. My partner is always Joe Rogan. The trilogy began in the welterweight division in 2004. Matt Hughes was in a little bit of trouble. Boom, armbar, win over George St. Pierre. About 25 months later, though, George St. Pierre was dominant. Now they settle the score.
The big difference in the second fight was that Matt Hughes decided to try to stand up with George St. Pierre. The big difference in this fight is that he's gone back to his roots in his training camp and is focused much more on his wrestling, which is his biggest strength, which got him most of his early victories, and which I think is his best chance for victory tonight.
Well, the interesting thing when you look at that matchup is it is one that we thought we might not see until 2008. But with the injury to Matt Serra, a motivated Matt Hughes, of course, takes on George Rush St. Pierre. And then the other matchup, the big one, the one years in the making, Chuck Liddell, Wanderlei Silva.
I mean, I can't tell you how excited I am for this fight. Both these guys are, in everyone's opinion, the greatest light heavyweights ever in mixed martial arts. Wanderlei Silva had a dominant run in Pride, destroying all challengers. And then, of course, Chuck Liddell, everybody knows he's got this unbelievable list of who's who knockout victims. So these two guys have the perfect matchups for the most exciting fight possible. Both of them are freight trains. They're both on the same track, coming straight at each other. And Wanderlei Silva has publicly stated he does not care if he wins or loses. He's coming out banging. And that's exactly what Chuck Liddell wants to hear, because his style is perfectly suited to counterpunch an aggressive, ferocious fighter like Wanderlei. This is, You couldn't ask for a better matchup.
There's no question. The Big Four are colliding here tonight. Interim welterweight title, as I mentioned in our main event of the evening, and I believe we will see the best Matt Hughes and the best George Rush St. Pierre ever as they complete the trilogy.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see there's the armbar that Matt caught George St. Pierre with in the first fight. I mean, he overcommitted for a Kimura, and Matt caught him with a beautiful far side armbar. But in the second fight, he tried to stand with George, and that proved to be his downfall. He got caught with a big head kick. There it is. And that was the beginning of the end. George just mauled him on the ground. Big John McCarthy stopped the fight.
Now, fans around the world, your voice can be heard this evening. You can weigh in your thoughts on our main event of the evening by either logging on to UFC.com or by texting 1 for GSP or 2 for Matt Hughes to 88222. We'll keep you updated throughout tonight's pay-per-view. Our text voting is brought to you by Premier Fighter. Premier Fighter, your premier choice for MMA attire. Our premier choice for a matchup that we've been waiting our entire lives for, or at least the last 6 years. Silva against Liddell.
I mean, you can't talk.
Crazy.
You really can't describe how exciting this is for a mixed martial arts fan to watch this fight. Wanderlei Silva, if you have never watched Pride and you have never seen this man fight, I can sum it up with one word: violence. This guy is a ferocious competitor. He is the Pride version of Chuck Liddell, a ferocious Muay Thai striker, very versatile with knees, kicks, elbows, and punches. And of course, Chuck Liddell, one of the most potent knockout artists in the game. Another vicious striker, a true fighter, a guy who takes on all challenges, afraid of no one, and is capable of knocking out any man with one punch.
Tonight, it is finally going to happen. Chuck Liddell is going to face Wanderlei Silva, and at the weigh-ins, you could see the intensity.
You could see the intensity, and you could also see what kind of shape these men are in. Chuck Liddell was shredded. His eyes look very clear and focused and intense, and a look in his eyes that I have not seen since the Tito Ortiz fight. He looks far more focused, far more intense for this fight.
And you can, as you can for our main event, be heard on this fight as well by texting A for Chuck Liddell, B to Wanderlei Silva to 88222. Once again, our texting brought to you by Premier Fighter. The Premier Fighter is now your premier choice for MMA attire. Also tonight, as we look at great warriors who are already established as champions, we could see a glimpse of the future with Sokoudjou making his UFC debut and some heavy-handed heavyweights as well.
The young and tough Eddie Sanchez brings into this fight size and big power in his right hand. He's a former pitcher, and he throws that right hand like a fastball. And he's going to need it against Soa Palale. Soa is a huge guy coming all the way from Australia. A lot of international fights, and he is highly touted.
And in the light heavyweight division, Lyoto Machida faces a huge challenge tonight.
The very elusive karate stylist, Lyoto Machida, takes on one of the most promising and exciting fighters to ever enter the UFC, the African assassin, Sokoudjou. A powerful, athletic guy who's got destructive power in his hands and feet.
Joe, our rules of the Octagon are brought to you by Premier Fighter. Premier Fighter, your premier choice for MMA attire. 3 judges score the bout duration, 3 5-minute rounds. Tonight's main event is scheduled for 5 5-minute rounds. As always, a 10-point must scoring system is in effect, with the round winner gaining 10 points, his opponent 9 or less, based on effective striking, grappling, aggression, and Octagon control. Tonight's UFC 79 Nemesis, live from Las Vegas, is available in high definition. We begin our night of fights in the lightweight division, and this battle of the Bayou is laced with hatred. The paths of Rich Clemente and Melvin Guillard have crossed for years, and finally, they collide tonight inside the Octagon. The bad blood between Louisiana rivals Rich Clemente and Melvin Guillard runs deep, and it has been boiling for years. Tonight, they finally get the chance to settle things once and for all in what should be one of the most explosive battles of 2007.
Fought some of the best guys in the world, and he's going to make a statement saying that I'm afraid to step in the ring with Melvin Guillard. Are you kidding me?
I'm hoping and praying that I end this career. I hope he never fights after this.
A well-rounded veteran who's been a pro since 1999, Rich Clemente finally hit his stride after a stint on the 4th season of The Ultimate Fighter, and has since won 3 of his last 4 fights. It's all over! Most impressive was a 2nd-round submission victory over previously unbeaten Anthony Johnson in September, a feat he would love to repeat tonight against Melvin Guillard.
Just to have him run his mouth again and look stupid, that's exciting for me. But, you know, for him, he loses again in the UFC. You know, where does he go from here?
A survivor of Hurricane Katrina who has dealt with his ups and downs in and out of the octagon, Melvin Guillard has nonetheless shown the type of talent and power in wins over Rick Davis and Gabe Rudiger that most fighters just dream of. Tonight, the young assassin looks to get back to his winning ways, and there's no one he'd rather do it against than Rich Clemente.
Wherever I see this guy at, I'm gonna slap him around. Whether it's in the octagon, whether it's out the octagon, that's the animosity I have for him. I have no respect for this guy.
My whole game plan for this fight is to be like a meat grinder on Melvin, and I'm just gonna break him.
You know what? This is another battle of a different type, years in the making. Maybe going back to when Rich Clemente, born in New Jersey, but now living in Slidell, Louisiana, knocked out Melvin Guillard's high school wrestling coach, Warren Donnelly. Then they would meet, they actually trained together a long time ago, but they would cross paths in the different fights in the New Orleans area. Words were spoken, more words were spoken, punches were thrown outside of the arena, and it all climaxes tonight.
Yeah, a real bad blood fight. Rich Clemente looked fantastic in his last fight where he submitted Anthony Johnson, who's a very big, powerful guy. He has a lot of octagon experience, a lot of experience outside of the octagon. The guy's got a 37-12-1 record. So a tremendous wealth of mixed martial arts experience. He's very well-rounded, and what he said about wanting to grind him, when he wanted to be like a meat grinder on top of him, he has got that kind of style where he can get on top of you, push the pace, and he thinks that Melvin is going to break. He thinks he's stronger than him mentally.
Rich Clemente has never trained as diligently as he has for tonight's grudge match, if you will. In fact, he was walking around 2 weeks ago or so, very close to the much-needed weight of 155, about 9 pounds over, so he comes in motivated and in incredible condition. Assassin, just 24 years old. He's been training in Houston, Texas with Saul Solis and Eve Edwards. He already has 39 wins to his credit in his mixed martial arts career. It has been a tough year coming off a suspension, yes, Joe, but undoubtedly, pound for pound, athletically, explosively, he's as dangerous as anybody in the world today.
Yeah, he's very quick, very explosive guy. He's got great strikes. The only criticism that you lay on Melvin Guillard is that when it's come to the big fights, he's lost them. The fight with Joe Stevenson, the fight with Josh Neer, who he was beating Josh Neer pretty handily, had him badly cut, got caught with the triangle, and of course Joe Stevenson put him away very quickly, 27 seconds into the first round with a guillotine choke. In another fight where a lot of bad words were exchanged, a lot of bad blood, but Joe Stevenson came out on top of that fight. He's a very talented guy and very promising. It's an amazing amount of fights for a young guy at 24 years of age, but make no mistake about it, this is probably the biggest and most important fight of his young career.
For a lot of reasons. The reasons that I talked about before. Coming off the suspension, but more importantly, coming off the loss, and an embarrassing loss in that, to Joe Stevenson, where Melvin said, I was very depressed at first, I was mad at myself, I was embarrassed, so he's really done some soul searching, and it will be interesting to see if that translates into the best Melvin Guillard we've ever seen here tonight. Guillard, Clemente. Look at this. Wow. See, that's why I didn't use the word dislike. That's why I said hate. Our tale of the tape for this first fight of the night is brought to you by Harley-Davidson, the only motorcycles worthy of being in the octagon. Gallard, 7 years younger than Clemente. Everything else is virtually identical. To get UFC 79 Nemesis officially started. The veteran voice of the octagon, here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in Las Vegas for UFC 79. And now, it's time to begin our first bout of the evening. 3 rounds of fighting in the UFC lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a mixed martial artist holding a professional record of 37 wins with 12 losses and 1 draw. Standing 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 155 pounds, fighting out of Slidell, Louisiana, Rich No Love Clemente. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a mixed martial artist holding a professional record of 39 wins with 7 losses and 3 draws. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 156 pounds, fighting out of New Orleans, Louisiana, Melvin, the Young Assassin Gillard. And when the action begins, our referee in charge of this contest is Herb Dean.
We don't need to stare down for this one. They've been staring at each other all night long. The beautiful Ariane, Edith, here tonight. It's UFC 79, and we've already got a battle of nemesis.
Let's do it.
Gallard, Clemente, and we are underway. Melvin Gallard, destructive, dangerous, and so dynamic. Clemente, such a veteran.
Physically, Rich Clemente looks better than I've ever seen.
No question. And if that look in his eyes is any indication, mentally he might be in that very same place, Joe. And Rich Clemente has said that he feels that although he's had some good wins in the UFC, he's never really shown his full arsenal of skills.
Nice inside leg kick.
And he wants to really not only beat down Gallard tonight, but show everyone that he is a factor in the lightweight division. Gallard, as I mentioned, training with Saul Solis in Houston in preparation for this fight. Striking with Eve Edwards every day will get you better. Who will engage first? Blue and white trunks for Clemente. Red and black trunks for Gallard.
Good counter right, and a nice counter by Gallard as well.
High kick handled neatly. And again, Gallard really swinging for the fences. I mean, when he comes after his opponent, it's like he's being shot out of a cannon. I mean, it really is. I know that's cliche, Joe, but that is how explosive and dynamic Gallard can be.
The problem with that type of attack, that committing attack, is that that's exactly what Rich Clemente is looking for. Clemente's looking to counter. Nice body kick right there. He's looking to take advantage of mistakes.
Yep. Well, Gallard came shooting out quickly, and, you know, it cost him against Joe Stevenson. Fight scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. Inside leg kick for Clemente. Had an absolutely tremendous training camp.
Clemente got caught with that right hand, but he's got a body lock on Gallard now.
Melvin Gallard motioning to the crowd.
Clemente's got his back.
It might be a big deal now, though.
Good job by Clemente of keeping that back control. Gallard tried to turn it around and fall into Rich Clemente's guard, but he's got to be careful here. He doesn't have good control over Gallard's body. If Gallard spins, he can spin and wind up on top of him in Rich Clemente's guard. And what Gallard's doing is he's controlling Rich Clemente's arm. There he goes. Now Clemente's free. Now he's clearly got Gallard's back. This is a very bad, and he's got a full Nelson. Now, I've never even seen this before in an MMA bout. All right, he let it go.
Yeah. Now Clemente trying to work back to a dominant position.
Still on top.
see if he takes him for a ride again.
He dragged him down. Oh, and he wound up on the bottom.
Very relaxed in this exchange has been Melvin Guillard, trying not to eat a knee on the way up. The
Nice
crowd
exchange.
reacts. Big right hand. That rocked him. Oh, he fell on the knee attempt. And there is Guillard in the top position. Melvin Guillard caught. Rich Clemente with a right hand.
Rich Clemente's got a good chin because Melvin throws some heat. Rich is throwing an armbar attempt up, and he turns it into an omoplata on the other side. He rolls over and takes side control. Very nice jiu-jitsu display by Rich Clemente. That was a beautiful flow right there.
Clemente said he has never fought anybody he disliked as much as Melvin Guillard, and it has really motivated him. 37 career wins for Clemente, 39 for the young assassin Melvin Guillard.
Guillard using the fence to try to push off. Clemente's still on top. Clemente goes to the back again. He's got one hook.
Can he do something here in the final 40 seconds of the round?
This is a bad spot for Melvin Guillard. Clemente's got the choke.
Rich Clemente looking to finish the fight here in the first round.
He's got a body lock. He's got a body triangle. He can finish him with that.
He's got
See that figure four around the body?
Yep.
Just that alone is very painful in the top position. Only 20 seconds to go.
And it's all over! Rich Clemente defeats Melvin Guillard!
Melvin Guillard very upset. I mean, the time for fighting is past.
This bad blood will not go away.
Sweet revenge for Rich Clemente.
For sure. Man, he looked good.
Let's take a look at the finish of the fight right here. Now here Rich Clemente goes for over-under control. He got one hook in, takes his back, gets that body triangle in, and that is key because that is crippling. It cuts off your air. It puts a lot of pressure on your spine. He flattens him out, flattens out Melvin Guillard, gets that choke in, compresses him, flattens him out right there. That's a lot of pressure on the stomach, a lot of pressure on the back, and he's got that arm across the throat. And Melvin Guillard forced the tap.
Now this is what upset Melvin Guillard.
I mean, you know, I'm sure he got upset, but what he doesn't expect after all this bad blood for Rich to be celebrating.
Bruce Buffer with the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Herb Dean has called a stop to this contest at 4 minutes 40 seconds of the very first round, declaring the winner by tap out due to a rear naked choke, Rich No Love Clemente.
Clemente promised to bring his best tonight, and he certainly did. Clemente beats Guillard, and he is inside the octagon with Joe Rogan.
All right, I'm here with the winner, Rich Clemente. Rich, a lot of bad blood coming in this fight. It's got to be a very, very satisfying victory for you.
He still ain't learned his lesson. Look at him. Get the hell out of here. Let me just say something. Nothing worse than a guy that talks shit and don't back it up.
Well, Rich, you certainly talked plenty of shit yourself and backed it up. But let's take a look at the Mickey's replay and talk us through this. As soon as you got his back, it was all over.
It was done. Like I said in all my interviews, we're two different guys when it comes to the groundwork. And, you know, I wanted to stand long enough to let people know my stand-up ain't bad, Melvin ain't shit, and then I do what I do. Done deal.
Now,
we practice jiu-jitsu, Melvin.
Were you surprised at the end that he got upset after he tapped? What was he upset about exactly?
Oh, he was just upset because I validated what he's been knowing for 6 years, that I'm the better man.
Well, congratulations. You certainly proved that tonight. We look forward to seeing you again. Rich Clemente, ladies and gentlemen.
What a way to start UFC 79. How good is this? Rich Clemente chokes out Melvin Guillard in the very first round. Big ones still remaining tonight. And don't forget, the beautiful Rochelle Leah is revealed in the January issue of Flex, the host of Spike TV's highly rated UFC All Access. He will be in an incredible annual lingerie spectacular. It's on newsstands now. And here's what you fans think thus far as you are letting your thoughts be heard. Just a slight edge for St. Pierre in the main event of the evening, as you can continue to vote all night long. 1 for St. Pierre, 2 for Hughes. And in the Liddell-Silva matchup, Chuck Liddell, a definitive favorite, at least thus far. Continue voting by logging on to UFC.com or by texting on your cell phone. The text voting brought to you by Premier Fighter. Premier Fighter, your premier choice for MMA attire. UFC 79 Nemesis is being brought to you by Harley Davidson, the only motorcycles worthy of being in the octagon. By Rambo, heroes never die, they just reload. Rambo in theaters January 25th. And by High Mob Watches, the exclusive watch provider of the UFC. Please visit highmobwatches.com. Later tonight, it is our main event of the evening as George Rush St. Pierre faces Matt Hughes once again for the interim welterweight title. Arriving earlier tonight here at the Mandalay Bay Event Center, the former welterweight champion, George Rush St. Pierre. Set to face, for a third time, the former welterweight champion, Matt Hughes. So tonight, a welterweight title is on the line, and next month in the UK, our main event will be for the UFC World Lightweight Championship.
The prodigy, BJ Penn, is back in the UFC lightweight division. No, he wants to secure his place in UFC history. He is rededicated, refocused.
Here we go, BJ Penn!
And no, he is on a mission to win the UFC lightweight title. The Ultimate Fighter Season 2 winner, Joe Daddy Stevenson, is a powerful grappler who has proven that he belongs among the best in the UFC. On January 19th, in the biggest fight of their lives, BJ Penn will fight Joe Daddy Stevenson for the UFC World Lightweight Championship. And in a battle of top-ranked heavyweights, hard-hitting Gabriel Napao Gonzaga goes to war with submission specialist Fabricio Verdum. The Ultimate Fighting Championship presents UFC 80 Rapid Fire, live January 19th from Metro Radio Arena. Only on pay-per-view.
Now take a look in the locker room of George Rush St. Pierre. Remember, St. Pierre won the last matchup against Matt Hughes with a great kick to lead to the TKO. St. Pierre, of course, taking this fight on short notice when Matt Serra was injured. He was quick to take this opportunity to once again own a welterweight belt. Matt Hughes was able to finish St. Pierre the first time they met. Matt Hughes has said, as you look inside his locker room, that he realizes that both he and George St. Pierre are much different fighters as they get set to meet again later tonight. Matt Hughes will be ready, as will George St. Pierre. Chuck Liddell, Vanderlei Silva in the light heavyweight division. And speaking of light heavyweights, a native of Cameroon, Sokaju, considers his fighting style jungle fighting. The quickly rising star is set to make his UFC debut against unbeaten Lyoto Machida. With 2 wins over top 10 light heavyweights already in 2007, Sokaju has been a one-man wrecking crew. Unbeaten Lyoto Machida has no intentions of being the next man on the African Assassin's highlight reel, and he plans on rudely welcoming Sokaju to the UFC tonight.
Winning my UFC debut tonight would be great, and giving Machida his first loss would be even sweeter.
Sokaju, ele may want to say that he's going to give me my first loss, but that's very difficult to say before the fight. We'll see tonight.
A highly regarded judoka who won the 2001 U.S. Open, Sokaju was fairly unknown in the fight world until 2007 when he knocked out world-class light heavyweights Antonio Rogerio Nogueira and Ricardo Arona in consecutive pride bouts, with neither fight making it out of the second minute. Just 23 years old, Sokaju comes to the octagon with great potential and even greater expectations.
I'm not here to showcase. I'm here to put up a good fight, go home with the win. Jungle fighter just do whatever it takes.
Unbeaten in 11 pro fights, Brazil's Lyoto Machida is one of the most accurate and technical strikers in the game today. Machida entered the octagon for the first time in February of 2007 and has since defeated Sam Hoger, David Heath, and Kazuhira Nakamura.
This being my fourth victory after tonight, I believe that I'm ready for a title shot. I want the belt.
Good luck to him, because tonight I don't plan on losing.
Wow. Oh, man. That's actually usually your word, sorry.
He comes in with a Predator mask on, and, you know, how appropriate. Because if you watch this guy's fighting style, he is like a Predator. Seeing him fight in Pride, he's got shocking power. He just demolished Ricardo Arona while Ricardo Arona was grabbing a hold of a single. Ricardo got a hold of Sokaju's leg, and just the hammer fists alone from that position, from the standing position, had Ricardo out. He was in deep trouble. He let go of it. Sokaju caught him with a huge uppercut, rocked him, sent him back on his ass, and Sokaju finished up the fight. He's a very powerful guy, really, really explosive. And Ryan Parsons, who is the head trainer over Team Quest in Temecula, has said that he thinks that Sokaju is the best 205-pounder in the world. It's just a matter of time before everybody else figures it out. He thinks that he can beat anybody in the world at this weight class.
I talked to Dan Henderson about not only Sokaju, but some of his young fighters getting their UFC debuts here this evening at UFC 79, and he said, I am excited about their opportunity. I hope they're ready mentally, but skill-wise, all of these men, and Sokaju at the top of the list of the guys at Team Quest right now under Dan Henderson and Ryan Parsons' guidance. This man has the skills to, as you said, dominate inside the octagon.
Well, Ryan Parsons is not an exaggerator. I mean, what he says, in my opinion, is gospel. And when he talks about this guy in training, he says, literally, it's like a man against boys. And he just tosses people around, and his power and everything. He's just, all he ever says about him is this guy is so good. But he's got a very difficult task against him tonight, because Lyoto Machida is the type of guy that can make a powerful guy look awkward and silly. Lyoto is a very interesting fighter to watch because he's very elusive, and that is the perfect combination to go up against a guy like Sokaju.
He better be elusive tonight. Lyoto Machida, born and raised in Brazil. Proud to say that he just received his black belt 2 months ago. He's got lots of grappling, lots of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And Joe, as you pointed out a moment ago, what he might be best at is dictating the pace of the fight.
Yes, he's, as I said before, he's very elusive, and it's an unusual style. The way he throws his kicks is not what we're used to seeing in MMA, which is Muay Thai. We're used to seeing those type of leg kicks. The difference is he throws his kicks without like any telegraphing. He doesn't step and then throw them. He's very elusive, very quick, and he's very good at striking and then getting out of range. He's very good at also dictating where the fight takes place, whether he decides that it's going to be on the ground or that he decides it to be standing up. The big question, can he deal with the judo of Sokaju? Can he deal with the athletic explosiveness and the striking and the physical power of the big man from Africa?
Machida, 11-0 in his mixed martial arts career, 3-0 inside the octagon. His father, a karate master, as we've mentioned in his previous fights. Thus, Lyoto Machida started training in karate at just the tender age of 3. He is well decorated in that skill and continues to just get better as a mixed martial artist. And also adding to that, with his striking, he gets to train with Anderson Silva.
This is a massive test for him, though. This is a completely different type of fighter. Like I said before, you saw in the highlight clips of Sokoudjou, but until you've actually seen him fight, it is shocking. He's an unusual specimen, and that is for sure.
Sokoudjou, coming off those huge knockouts in Pride, we welcome him to the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Our tale of the tape for this light heavyweight matchup is brought to you by Harley-Davidson, the only motorcycles worthy of being in the octagon. Lyoto Machida, the native of Brazil, 29 years old, 6 years the elder of the native of Cameroon. Sokoudjou weighed in at 205, Machida 204. Sokoudjou will have a 4-inch reach advantage. Once again with our official introductions, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC light heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a mixed martial artist holding a professional record of 4 wins with 1 loss. He stands 6 feet tall, weighing in at 205 pounds, fighting out of Temecula, California, the African Assassin, Sokoudjou. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a karate fighter who holds a perfect professional record of 11 wins with no losses. He stands 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 204 pounds. Fighting out of Belém, Brazil, Lyoto the Dragon Machida. And when the action begins, our referee in charge of the octagon is Mario Yamasaki.
Mario Yamasaki, our referee. The beautiful Edith signifies the start of the light heavyweight matchup, which features the debut inside the octagon of Sokoudjou taking on that man, Lyoto
Here we go, first
Machida.
round, you ready? You ready? Let's do it!
Here we go! You know, it's almost like Joe right now, because this man is so highly touted, you almost want to just sit back and watch Sokoudjou and soak it in. Catches a quick jab.
That was a straight left.
Yeah, it was, pardon me.
Machida, this is what he wants. He wants to just move in and lunge forward with punches and then get out.
High kick by Sokoudjou. Oh, big punch. Big right hand by Sokoudjou.
Clinch by Machida, takedown by Sokoudjou. And a sweep by Machida. He's looking for a Kimura.
Straight left by Machida, then a big right by Sokoudjou. Now they work to the ground.
Machida on top, controlling Sokoudjou in the half guard.
Joe, and as you pointed out many times, technique can overcome strength.
Absolutely, but you know what? Sokoudjou's got some great technique as well. I'm sure he's not too used to being on his back, nor did he probably expect to be on his back much against Machida.
Machida, very relaxed right now, trying to get himself to a more dominant position. Machida trying to work the right arm of Sokoudjou.
He's got the Kimura locked up. He's turning into an inverted armbar.
Half guard for Lyoto Machida.
Sokoudjou looks calm under there.
Sokoudjou training with Dan Henderson. He's had to been put through the ranks and put through the works. That's for certain, preparing for this big night tonight, the African Assassin. But early Machida looks good.
Now Machida's stuck in Sokoudjou's half guard, but you can finish the Kimura in half guard. Matt Hughes finished Joe Riggs from that position. He's lost it now. Now he's just got head and arm control, and he's going to try to pass. What he's going to try to do is use that foot that he's pushing down on Machida's, or on, Sokoudjou's thigh, and get his left leg out. He's softening him up with some punches. And as soon as he feels an opening, he's going to press down with his right leg. See, he's got his right instep on Sokoudjou's thigh, and he's going to try to pop his left leg out from in between Sokoudjou's legs. You see that foot placed there on the thigh? That's what that's for.
Sokaju has truly gone through the tortures of training at Team Quest, but he's been more than willing to pay that price. Almost represented his home country in the 2004 Olympics in judo.
The real question, Mike, is how much training has he put in on his back?
Right.
Because, I mean, he's right now in this position, he's not looking to sweep. He hasn't been looking to grab control of Lyoto's body and try to roll him. He's not doing much here. He's just kind of holding this position. So he's trying to get a guillotine now. He's got a hold of Machida's neck.
90 seconds remains.
He looks a little lost under there.
On to the same point, Joe, Machida is only doing virtually nothing, so they're going to stand him up.
Yeah. Stands him up, which is, you know, it's a little unusual because Machida was controlling it. He was controlling that position.
Tried to throw that straight left again. Sokaju.
Good body kick by Lyoto.
Was originally brought in by Dan Henderson to help Henderson train for a fight against Nakamura. And I guess the rest is history. They liked him, they kept him, and now Sokaju looking to create his own legacy. 40 seconds left in the first round. With the control by Machida. The first round certainly appears to be his. With 25 seconds still on the clock, where anything can happen.
By Sokaju.
Good takedown indeed. Sokaju trying to change the mind of the judges. Steal back this round. Sokaju with some strikes. The body clinch.
Lyoto has done a great job of avoiding damage, though. Even though Sokaju is throwing all these bombs inside, Lyoto has done a great job of closing the distance when necessary and moving outside when necessary. Now here's the takedown. Beautiful sweep, bang, gets him down. Now, as soon as he does that trip, Lyoto sweeps him, gets on top, and that was most of the first round. Elbows to the side.
You know, Joe, one comment you made in the first round was that Sokaju looked almost confused and out of it, but the one thing we have to consider is there's a lot of pressure on this young man. He's 23 years old, and we've talked about it many times. Octagon jitters do truly exist.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, this is a huge event for him. He was, you know, originally supposed to be fighting in another organization in Japan, and they decided to not take that contract, take the contract in the UFC. A lot more pressure, a lot more people watching. And against, like we said, a very elusive opponent with a lot of experience. You got to look at what Sokaju has is a 4-1 mixed martial arts record. Only 5 bouts so far.
The left worked early for Machida in round 1, that straight left. High kick, wow.
Nice kick by Machida.
Yeah, that had a little stink to it.
Sokaju.
Sokaju keeping those hands up. UFC 79 nemesis.
Nice inside leg kick. Excuse me, outside leg kick.
Second fight of this historic night. Right hand by Sokaju. See if Sokaju tries to push the pace a little bit.
Machida is such a technician. You know, it's so interesting to watch him fight because he's constantly setting things up. Instead of just relying on explosiveness and charging in, he's always looking to counter. He's always looking to feint in one direction and redirect him to another way.
He's fast, he's accurate, and he is defensive in a lot of ways.
He's a very unusual guy to prepare for because there's not a whole lot of guys you can get that are training partners that have this type of ability.
Hey, log on to 80.ufc.com for more information on UFC 80 Rapid Fire. Looking for the head kick again, Sokaju.
and out of the way immediately.
Machida appears to be very relaxed in the stand-up game as well against Sokoudjou. Oh, good strike, straight kick.
Well, what's going on right now is Sokoudjou is waiting for him, which is never good. He's a little confused by Machida's style, and he's starting to get mesmerized.
But Joe, as you pointed out, a lot of
he got caught. Sokoudjou got caught.
And now Machida trying to take advantage. A lot of people confused by Machida's
He's in a lot of trouble here.
assault and his style. And he's scoring big points again here in round 2.
Machida's passing here. He's in half guard.
Joe, what is it that is so confusing to the opponents of Lyoto Machida?
He's got excellent timing. I mean, he's a very intelligent guy, and his timing is awesome. And it's that style. He's got this karate style. It's just a very different style than, you know, the brawling Muay Thai style. He's trying for an arm triangle on Sokoudjou's right arm. You see how he's got it trapped against his neck and his head? As soon as he gets his leg out of there, he's got it. He's got his leg out. Sokoudjou's in a lot of trouble. Okay, now he's moved to the mount position. He lost the arm triangle, but got a much more dominant position.
And plenty of time for which to work. Still 2 minutes remaining in the round.
Sokoudjou is getting owned in this fight. He has got to do something.
Wins over BJ Penn, Stephan Bonner, Vernon White, the first ever to defeat Rich Franklin, Lyoto Machida.
He's going for the arm triangle again, but this time he's mounted.
Sokoudjou escapes, at least for now.
Yes, he escapes, but he's still on the bottom. Again,
shots
those
to the thigh area.
Thigh.
The IT band.
I mean, if you saw the fights that Sokoudjou had in Japan, and then you saw this fight, you wouldn't believe it. I mean, he's getting really, really dominated.
By truly kind of the master plan of Machida.
Joe Silva just handed me a note that says this ain't Japan. And it is true. I mean, this is the most talent-rich pool of fighters in the world, and this 205-pound division is very, very deep. Machida again trying for that arm triangle. And he's out now. Oh, he's got it. He's got it.
45 seconds remains. Plenty of time.
Sokoudjou's on his way.
And it is all over. Lyoto Machida remains unbeaten.
What a very impressive, dominant performance from Lyoto Machida. Technique over strength. Tactics over aggression. Wow. Huge win for Machida. On the international scale, this guy was so highly touted coming into this fight. And he had nothing to offer for Machida. Let's take a look at it again. Here it is. He's got the arm triangle. And as soon as that arm is trapped up against the neck, what Machida wants to do is get that right leg free. So he closes his hands together, gets that grip, pops that leg out, and he turns like a clock, putting all that pressure against Sokoudjou's neck on both sides, forcing him to tap or go to sleep. Huge win for Lyoto Machida.
And the reaction of the victor, Lyoto Machida. He's 4-0 inside the octagon, 12-0 overall, and he absolutely, as Joe pointed out, dominated Sokoudjou here tonight. With the official decision, here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Mario Yamasaki has called a stop to this contest at 4 minutes 20 seconds of round number 2, declaring the winner by tap out due to an arm triangle, Lyoto the Dragon Machida.
Impressive. Here's Joe.
All right, I'm here with the winner, Lyoto Machida, and his translator, Ed Soares. Now, Lyoto, coming into this fight, Sokoudjou was very highly touted internationally. You completely dominated him in all aspects of this fight. Did you expect that?
entrando nessa luta, todo mundo estava esperando que ele é um lutador muito completo, que estava dominando todo mundo. Mas você dominou essa luta do começo até o fim. Você pensava que ia ser assim?
Eu acreditei sempre do início ao fim que eu ia vencer essa luta, porque treinei muito e vou daqui para frente cada vez mais melhorar.
He said he knew from the beginning he was going to win his fight. He trained really hard, and he's only going to be improving.
Lyoto, take a look at the Mickey's replay and talk us through some of the action here. It seemed like once you got him on the ground, you completely dominated him.
Pareceu quando você levou ele pro chão, você dominou ele no chão.
Agora peguei a faixa preta de jiu-jitsu há 2 meses com o professor Della Riva, então o Broca lá de Belém, o Nino, e isso me fez crescer muito na parte de chão. Eu gostaria de dizer que Sokudjo é um atleta muito forte, mas que ele precisa treinar o karatê, voltar e treinar o karatê na selva, não o kung fu.
He said he's been training really hard on the ground. He just got his black belt, and that Nino Chambry's been training with him, and he's been really helping him. Broca, which is a training partner in Belém, where he lives, has been training with him. So he's really prepared for this fight. And before the fight, Sokudjo said that he was training kung fu in the jungle, and he says maybe he should go back to training karate in the jungle.
This was a highly respected opponent. A big victory over this guy has got to move you up in the rankings. Where do you feel you stand in the 205-pound division now?
Aonde você sente que você está na categoria 205 agora?
Agora eu acho que eu estou pronto para disputar um cinturão, porque eu já fui o assassino do Alasca, o assassino da África. Eu não sei que assassino agora eu tenho que bater para poder pegar esse cinturão.
He says he feels he's ready for the belt now. He's beat the Alaskan assassin, now the African assassin. What other assassin is there?
We look forward to seeing you again. Lyoto Machida, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know what other assassin there is. I don't know. There's a rampage, though. Lyoto Machida, the victor here tonight. There's Anderson Silva, his training partner, and obviously a disheartened Sokudjo. But he's young, he's 23, and he has a very bright future. The Rob and Big Show represented here tonight inside the Mandalay Bay Event Center, beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. The stars have come out this evening, and you, the fans, have let your voice be heard. Hughes still a slight favorite in your mind to win the main event. Text 1 for St. Pierre, 2 for Hughes to 88222. You can vote at UFC.com. 60-40 the split for Liddell Silva. Liddell, text A. Silva B, again to 88222. Our text voting all night brought to you by Premier Fighter. Premier Fighter, your premier choice for MMA attire. Later tonight, it is the fight we have waited so long for. The light heavyweight matchup between Chuck, the Iceman Liddell, and the axe murderer, Wanderlei Silva. That fight is coming up later tonight, live here from Las Vegas. And next month, the UFC and the Octagon return to the UK.
The prodigy, BJ Penn, is back in the UFC lightweight division. Now, he wants to secure his place in UFC history. He is rededicated, refocused.
Here we go, BJ Penn!
And now, he is on a mission to win the UFC lightweight title. The Ultimate Fighter Season 2 winner, Joe Daddy Stevenson, is a powerful grappler who has proven that he belongs among the best in the UFC. On January 19th, in the biggest fight of their lives, BJ Penn will fight Joe Daddy Stevenson for the UFC World Lightweight Championship. And in a battle of top-ranked heavyweights, hard-hitting Gabriel Napao Gonzaga goes to war with submission specialist Fabricio Verdum. The Ultimate Fighting Championship presents UFC 80 Rapid Fire, live January 19th from Metro Radio Arena. Only on pay-per-view.
Take a look inside of the locker room of the former light heavyweight champion Chuck the Iceman Liddell, who realizes that tonight is truly the most important fight of his UFC and mixed martial arts career, as he finally squares off against Wanderlei Silva, who, like Liddell, realizes that tonight a win is paramount. Anthony Kiedis. Red Hot Chili Peppers in attendance here tonight. You know what? The stars have come out. You know, the weekend where Van Halen's around, Beyonce's around, but the place to be tonight, Joe, is right here.
Absolutely.
Coming up now, a heavyweight battle with two men who have heavy hands, Eddie Sanchez and the Australian Soa Palale, both looking to destroy their opponent. With a nickname like the Hulk, it's unlikely that UFC newcomer Soa Palale will ever be accused of stalling out a decision or jabbing his way to a victory. And with all of his wins coming by knockout, TKO, or submission, the pride of Perth, Australia is eager to give the fans what they have come to see.
I'll fight whoever, whenever. You know, I just want to climb the ladder, and at the end of the day, I want the heavyweight title.
A gutsy competitor whose heart is only matched by the fight-ending power in his right hand, Eddie Sanchez is part of a new breed of young heavyweights that are ready to take on the elite in the UFC. A pro since 2005, Sanchez has already battled the likes of Mirko Cro Cop. And in June, he scored the most impressive victory of his career when he took out Colin Robinson in the second round. Will Soa Palale be the next to fall at the hands of the Manic Hispanic?
I think he's looking a little bit too far with this being his first fight in the UFC, especially fighting the Manic Hispanic.
This fight ends by way of knockout. Soa the Hulk Palale.
He did a little bit of Palale, then I did Palale, and I got it. Thank you, Soa. Born in Perth, Australia, and fighting out of Temecula, California, in the camp of Ryan Parsons and Dan Henderson. This is a big, powerful man who actually cuts weight to get down to the heavyweight limit here in the UFC of 265 pounds.
Yeah, big, powerful guy, big, powerful puncher, and, you know, thought also by Ryan Parsons and Team Quest to be a very exciting prospect in the heavyweight division. He's well-touted, and this is his octagon debut. And as we just saw with Sokoudjou, sometimes guys aren't able to fight up to their true potential. I mean, I shouldn't say that because who knows if that was actually Machida doing so well or whether it was a combination of both, but Soa Palale has his hands full tonight.
You know, it's interesting, similarly to Sokoudjou, Soa Palale is coming off a very quick knockout, a 15-second knockout of his opponent in Perth, Australia. And now he enters a much bigger pond, if you will, with much more on the line.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a huge, deep talent pool, and Soa's first appearance is tonight. I mean, Eddie Sanchez is an excellent opponent for him. We can gauge, you know, what his skill set is and what he's capable of, and we can see him fight in the UFC under the pressure of the big lights. With the
Dan
Ghetto
Henderson,
Boys playing.
Ryan Parson, the Ghetto Boys in the background. And Soa Palale enters the octagon for the first time. And while he does, hey, we want to give a big shout out to all the fans watching our pay-per-view live tonight in Manhattan. Beautiful jam-packed Madison Square Garden. Kenny Florian amongst the fighters there tonight. He said it's absolutely crazy there. Let's see if Soa Palale can put on a show for everyone around the world watching here tonight. The Manic Hispanic. That might be top 5 nicknames right now, Manic Hispanic.
Eddie Sanchez has got good power in his right hand. That is his #1 weapon. He's a former pitcher, and that's really the way he throws that right hand, with his whole body behind it. He's had a tough road in the UFC. His second fight ever in the UFC, fought Mirko Cro Cop in Cro Cop's debut. And as you said earlier, his last fight, he got a TKO over Colin Robinson in a fight that he was in deep, deep trouble in that first round. Showed a lot of guts and a lot of heart in that fight. Came back after that first round, dominated the second round, and beat Colin Robinson.
Very athletic. He overcame a horrific car accident when he was 21 years old, just about to turn 21. And when you look at Sanchez from the big picture, you have to say he's lost once. but that one loss was to the aforementioned Mirko Cro Cop. Everyone else that he's battled, including here inside the octagon, he's been able to take out in the first or second round. Second round, more appropriately so, here in the UFC.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, Mirko Cro Cop coming into the octagon the first time was a huge task for a young guy with not a whole lot of octagon experience. So, you know, Eddie Sanchez continues to improve.
All his wins have come via knockout, TKO, or submissions. Suffice to say that not only Sanchez, but Panalei have very heavy hands. Heavyweights taking the center of the octagon. Our tale of the tape is brought to you by Harley-Davidson, the only motorcycles worthy of being in the octagon. Panalei, the Australian, 5 years the elder of the American, and look at this, not only a huge advantage, at least size-wise, 262, 239, but a 10-inch reach advantage for the native of Perth. With our official introductions, once again, here's the veteran voice of the octagon, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a kickboxer, holding a professional record of 8 wins with 1 loss. He stands 6 feet 4 inches tall, weighing in at 262 pounds. Fighting out of Temecula, California, Soa the Hulk Palale. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a freestyle fighter, holding a professional record of 9 wins with 1 loss. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 239 pounds. Fighting out of Temecula, California, Eddie, the Manic Hispanic Sanchez. And when the action begins, our referee in charge of the octagon is Mario Yamasaki.
So earlier tonight, Joe, we had the Battle of New Orleans. Now we got the Battle of Temecula. Sanchez, Panalei. The big Australian set to make his UFC debut.
Let's do it!
Yamasaki gets us started, and here we go. Oh, quickly Sanchez looking to engage. Eddie Sanchez in the white trunks.
Palalei's got him pressed up against the cage here.
Panalei didn't fight for 3 years after his one and only loss. But since coming back, he has come back and come back very, very well. The father of 3, who owns a TKO victory over UFC veteran Christian Wellich, the Hungarian. Good knee. Answered. The big 4 still remain tonight. Hugh St. Pierre, Liddell, and Vanderlei Silva.
Panalei gets the trip. He's got a hold of Eddie Sanchez's ankle. Hasn't quite finished the takedown yet. Now he's got him on his butt.
Main event tonight for the UFC interim welterweight title. Main event at UFC 80 will be for the lightweight title. BJ Penn, Joe Stevenson. Tickets are still available for UFC 80 Rapid Fire at UFC.com and Ticketmaster.co.uk. Ticketmaster.co.uk.
Panalei being patient here. He's got Sanchez down, but he hasn't got him into a position where he's completely controlling him yet. Sanchez is still moving around a lot. Panalei is just trying to move forward to a more dominant position. Keeps hold of that one leg. He's got a hold of Sanchez's left leg. And he's using that to keep Sanchez from standing up.
Panalei looking to smother and attack Eddie Sanchez.
Sanchez back to his feet. Sanchez tries a trip of his own.
Now Sanchez looking to control the body. An errant strike. Yep, an errant strike. Panalei will take time to recover.
Let's take a look at that real quick. It looked to me like belt line.
Pretty close, wasn't it?
Yeah, it didn't look like it hit the cup. It looked like belt line. But only Sawa knows. I don't want to question him.
I definitely don't want to ask him that question.
Hey man, how's your package?
Exactly. Good, you? He's taking the time that is allowed by the rules here.
Well, the way he's moving around and holding it,
he's just not doing it for fun.
Yeah, that's not for fun.
Sanchez again engages quickly.
Sanchez tries a knee. Couple punches there.
Good strikes. Dirty boxing. Eddie Sanchez, knees, lefts.
Yeah, there's not a lot of power in those, but they're very irritating.
And they'll leave an impression on the judges.
And, you know, that they can force a better position for Sanchez. Soa looking for a body lock here.
Eddie Sanchez admits that he didn't feel like he looked that great in the win over Colin Robinson in Belfast, so he's really prepared diligently for this matchup here tonight.
Well, certainly his conditioning already looks better.
Yeah.
And he's more calm and pacing himself a little bit better.
You guys gotta move. Let's go.
Trains with light heavyweight Jason Lambert, who will fight in England. First round, methodical at best.
Stop!
And Mario Yamasaki agrees. Fireworks so far here tonight.
Soa ducks that big right hand.
Every time there's been an engagement, Sanchez has come with a big right hand, Joe.
Well, like we said before, that's his #1 weapon, and it is powerful. When he fought Mario Neto in his UFC debut, he was thought to be the underdog in that fight, and he connected with that big right hand, and Mario was in all sorts of trouble. Eventually, he scored a second-round knockout.
Good knee by Soa. Combination by Eddie Sanchez. Palalé says, bring it on.
Sanchez looks like he's relaxing here.
Oh, big swing and a miss.
Knee by Eddie
Sanchez trying to take advantage. Sanchez is getting loose now, Joe. He's getting comfortable. Starting to put some combinations together. Caught a jab.
Yeah, as he gets more confident, he's definitely more dangerous.
Palalé swings and misses again, that time with the left.
Yeah, Palalé's putting a lot of power into these punches, throwing his weight into them, but not setting them up.
Well, both of these men undoubtedly possess one-strike knockout power. Familiar position here for Sanchez with those irritating lefts.
Yeah, Palalé
good uppercut.
Has not looked the same ever since he took that knee.
Smile on the face of the Australian.
I'm really interested to see what Ryan Parsons has to say to him in the corner. He can't be happy with that performance.
And the corner of Eddie Sanchez.
She's right down the middle. Right hand through was a wild overhand right. Let's put together. You're fucking great with your hands. Let's use them. Jab, jab. Let's do the fucking combinations. Follow it with a kick. When you get in that clinch, call her time, not over time.
Good uppercut connected late in that first round.
Yeah, excellent punch by Eddie Sanchez. That and the knee that he took a lot out of Soa.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Tough UFC debut for Sokaju out of Team Quest, and now Soa Palalé trying not to follow suit. Eddie Sanchez finishing round one very well.
Let's do it.
Round two.
Soa is letting Eddie Sanchez dictate the pace of the fight.
Uppercut again, Joe.
Soa's waiting for Eddie to move, waiting for Eddie to attack, and then reacting to that. He's not forcing the action himself. He's not dictating the pace. And Eddie Sanchez feels this, and you see him. Look how confident he's getting.
If there was any doubt in the mind of Eddie Sanchez early, as you pointed out, it is truly starting to go away.
Well, he's winning this fight. In my opinion, he won that first round, and he looks very confident coming into the second.
What would you like to see Soa Palale do differently?
Well, he's got to press the action. I mean, if he's going to back up, he's got to back up with intelligent counterattacks. And right now, it seems like he's waiting for Eddie Sanchez to hit him, and then he reacts. You know, and it could be a case of him being overwhelmed by the experience. I mean, you know, there's 16,000 people here, sold out arena, and you know he's sitting here for the first time on national television in America, and it's a lot of pressure.
It's almost like little by little, Palale is starting to fall apart a little bit.
And you know what? It's not helping that Eddie Sanchez has got some serious power, and every time he hits him, it's got to hurt.
Maybe those little nasty, annoying lefts are starting to chip at the confidence of the Australian. Or maybe he'll swing for the fences again. Yeah, you're right. He's in reaction mode now, Joe. There he engages first.
He's not attacking. And that was what I heard about Soa. His reputation was that of an attacker. And see, if Eddie Sanchez gets comfortable and he's allowed to tee off those big overhand rights, one of them lands, Soa's going to be in big trouble. Oh, Soa lands one. There he goes.
Little Superman punch with the right.
And folks at home, you can watch the unaired preliminary bouts shortly after tonight's event at UFC.com. Also, the post-fight interviews. So as soon as the fights are over, we're going to upload those. And you can check out some entertaining bouts that didn't make the pay-per-view card at UFC.com.
Joe Sanchez, after some of his connected strikes, is just yelling out, "Yeah, boy, yeah, boy." The mental part of the game starting to go the way, or continuing, more appropriately, to go the way of Sanchez.
Well, you know, Sanchez has not had an easy road in the UFC.
Not at all.
Brought in as an underdog against Mario Neto, brought in as an underdog against Cro Cop, and a lot of people thought brought in as an underdog here tonight against Soa.
Late replacement coming in to fight Mario Neto.
Soa has shown very little so far in his debut. Oh, good elbow.
You know, we talked about it with Sokaju, and we talk about it every time somebody makes their debut, but you can once again not underestimate the bright lights that you spoke about earlier.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was just a huge display of it right there. I mean, what Eddie Sanchez just kind of threw Soa to the ground there. He had an overhook, or an underhook rather, on the right side, and just kind of tossed him down. Soa's back to his feet now, and Soa's got to do something drastic or he's going to lose this fight.
Now Sanchez, same point, wants to finish it with authority, wants to make his statement here tonight.
And again, Soa just comes in with a big wild punch, swings, misses, and then ties up Eddie Sanchez. If I was Ryan Parsons in the corner, I would be screaming at Soa. But you know what? The pressure of this event just might be getting to him. I mean, you hear this whole place is booing now.
Body shot. Combination.
Eddie Sanchez teed up, big uppercut. Soa's legs buckled.
He has connected on more than one uppercut here in this matchup.
His knees got buckled in that punch.
That was the big punch of round number one, advantage Sanchez as well. Just over 30 seconds remains in the second round.
If Sanchez can sustain a hard pace, I mean, I really think he's got a chance of putting Soa away.
Palale is bloodied up, Joe. Uppercut again.
Yeah, that was that uppercut to the nose. Again. Soa's wincing now, and
Sanchez has found something. Now he's starting to work with the head. It's almost now, Joe, as if Sanchez is fighting with no fear of being hurt or beaten by Soa Palale.
No, he looks great. He just stuck his tongue out, headed back to his corner. Jason Lambert puts the stool down for him. He's got to be very happy. Let's take a look at that uppercut there. Bang! Soa got hurt by that. His legs buckled, and he clinched immediately afterwards. Here we see it again at another angle. Here's a right hand. Boom, there's the uppercut. You see Soa's legs give out a little bit there. I mean, Eddie Sanchez can run away with this fight if he can just push the pace right now.
Get that Muay Thai clench. Throw those knees.
You're a better boxer than this guy.
All right? No more than 2 punches, okay? Does not like moving backwards. He hates moving backwards. Hates moving backwards. Beautiful fucking nice.
Hey, mouthpiece in. There he is, future Hall of Famer, Greg Maddux, here in attendance tonight. What a great career he has had. And speaking of baseball players, the former baseball player, Eddie Sanchez. Third and final round against Soa Palale.
Very, very frustrated looking Soa, very confident looking Eddie Sanchez.
Like you said right at the top of the show, Sanchez is going to try to bring the fastball here in the 3rd round, Joe.
Yeah, he's picking up the pace here for sure. You can see it right away. You know, I don't know why he clinched with him here. I mean, this is just burning off energy.
But the frustrating thing, I'm sure, to Ryan Parsons and Dan Henderson and anybody else who loves Soa Palale is the fact that he has not tried to change the tempo or do anything differently at all.
Well, that and how he has performed in the past. If you saw Soa fight in Pride, if you saw him fight in some of his other fights, he's a very dynamic striker, very dynamic fighter. Smooth combinations, and he's just not showing that. And Eddie Sanchez is landing some bombs.
Speaking of smooth combinations.
Soa is bloodied and battered, and Eddie has found a home for those punches.
And he's definitely found a love for the uppercut. The pace.
Another right hand. Eddie Sanchez just teeing off on Soa here.
Dictated all night by Sanchez. Boom. Uppercuts again.
He keeps landing these over and over again, and all Soa seems to be doing is trying to tie up Eddie's hand. See how he grabs that wrist? He's trying to control those punches to keep him from hitting him, but he's not trying to land on his own. What that tells me is he's trying to survive. He's not trying to win. Eddie Sanchez is just free balling here. I mean, he's not worried. He's not nervous at all. He doesn't feel any threat from Soa.
Tim Sylvia Nogueira set to battle for the heavyweight crown. Forthcoming in the UFC. Super Bowl weekend. Eddie Sanchez wants to move up that heavyweight ladder. And he is certainly beaten up Soa Palale tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Soa's face is a mess. Blood is pouring out of his nose. It looks like it's broken. And Eddie's just tossing him around. I mean,
Palale fatigued at this point as well, Joe.
Oh, they're both fatigued. I mean,
fatigued to the point where he can't, virtually can't do anything.
I mean, it's a lot of things. The fatigue, a lot of times it's not just from the physical performance, it's from the stress, the adrenaline dump, the overcoming this huge event. I mean, that's what happens in these UFC debuts. It's like some people rise to the occasion and some people are just dwarfed by this immense moment. And Eddie Sanchez has been here a bunch of times, and he's been here when people thought he was supposed to lose. And the kid's got balls. He's got a lot of heart. I mean, he took that fight against Cro Cop when Cro Cop was thought to be the most destructive guy in the heavyweight division, short of Fedor. And he took that fight, and, you know, he reasonable account of himself. That's
They're going to stop the fight.
Whoa.
They're going to stop the fight for now. Mario Yamasaki.
No, that's it.
And it is all over.
That's it.
They are stopping the fight. Eddie Sanchez.
Now, Eddie Sanchez is screaming something at him, and I don't know what it's about.
Now, Palale a moment ago was complaining about his eye in that last exchange, but, I mean, it was material at this point because Palale was not going to reverse this fortune.
Well, let's take a look at the blood all over Eddie Sanchez's glove right there. Here's the end of it here. Eddie Sanchez is just battering so, and that one right on the nose. And his eye swelled up from that, and you see him covering up his eye, and Eddie Sanchez screaming at him. Big win for Eddie Sanchez. Not the most exciting fight in the world, but a confidence booster for sure for the young heavyweight from Temecula.
I mean, I'll tell you what, he threw some heavy uppercuts. And obviously something was said between the two combatants for Sanchez to react the way he did upon victory. Then again, it seems like that's just the theme of the night.
Not the best night for Team Quest.
No, not at all. And a good night for Eddie Sanchez. The Manic Hispanic wins his second straight fight in the UFC. Here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Mario Yamasaki has called a stop to this contest at 3 minutes, 24 seconds of the third round, declaring the winner by TKO, Eddie the Manic Hispanic Sanchez.
Eddie Sanchez by TKO. Here's Joe.
All right, I'm here with a very happy Eddie Sanchez. Eddie, at the end of the fight, after you stopped him, you were yelling something at him. What was that all about?
Well, I remember in his pre-fight interview, he said I had a nice smile, and he didn't say anything about me, my hands or my game. So I just said, hey, who has this nice smile now? That's it. No. Utmost respect for Sao Pelele. He's a tough individual. He will be back.
Take a look at the replay up here. Look at the Mickey's replay and talk us through some of the action here.
I noticed that I was backing him up. He wouldn't throw his hands. Cardio-wise, he was out of gas. Just trying to throw my hands, land some punches because I knew he was hurt. Good. Nice.
So this is the end of the fight. It seemed like you hurt him pretty badly with a big uppercut in the second round. Did you feel the difference in the fight after that?
I felt in the second round he shut down, and he's always bringing his head down, so I landed a couple knees, dirty boxing. I still have respect for him. He's a good guy.
Well, congratulations. Big win for you.
Dad, where are you, Dad? My brother Eric Sanchez, my girlfriend J-Lo, and my new baby son Brody. Viva Mexico! Woo!
Eddie Sanchez, ladies and gentlemen.
Congratulations, Eddie Sanchez, on everything. And Happy New Year to Eddie Sanchez, who finishes 2007, well, kind of with an uppercut and a TKO win in the third round at 3 minutes and 24 seconds. Everywhere around the world, you continue to vote online. You continue to text us your thoughts on tonight's main event of the evening. The interim welterweight title between St. Pierre and Hughes, and it's stayed about the same throughout the night. It's almost a pick-em. Will it be the former long-time champion or the former one-time champion who reigns supreme tonight? And in the big one, Liddell Silva, Liddell is still considered your favorite to win. Our thanks to Premier Fighter. Log on to premierfighter.com. So far, so good in the Big Four. Still ahead. Live from Las Vegas. Let's take another look inside the locker room of the former longtime light heavyweight champion, Chuck the Iceman Liddell, who has enjoyed victory 15 times in his UFC career. 11 wins overall by knockout, and he had won 7 straight before his recent struggles. He is set to take on, of course, Wanderlei Silva. We get an inside look at Silva, who is now training full-time right here in Las Vegas. Silva was the Pride middleweight champion for 5 years and enjoyed a 17-fight unbeaten streak. Here's what's coming up inside the Octagon. Brought to you by Tap Out. Same gear and clothing, different attitude and approach. Check out the new website at tapout.com. The UFC returns to the UK on Saturday, January 19th for UFC 80 Rapid Fire from Metro Radio Arena in Newcastle, England. BJ the Prodigy Penn faces Joe Daddy Stevenson for the UFC World Lightweight Championship. Plus, heavyweight Gabriel Napao Gonzaga seeks to avenge an earlier loss to submission expert Fabricio Verdum. That's January 19th at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. Or you can watch it live at 3 p.m. in the East, 12 p.m. in the West. 4 days later, we return to Las Vegas for UFC Fight Night Live on Spike TV from the Pearl at the Palms. Mike Quick Swick will face Josh Berkman, and Patrick the Predator Cote will take on hard-hitting Drew McFedry. That's Wednesday, January 23rd on Spike TV at 9 p.m. Then on Super Saturday, February 2nd from the Mandalay Bay Event Center, it's UFC 81 Breaking Point. Tim the Maniac Sylvia will battle Antonio Minotauro Nogueira for the interim heavyweight championship, and former UFC heavyweight champion Frank Mir will face former WWE superstar Brock Lesnar. Tickets are still available at the Mandalay Bay box office, Ticketmaster.com, and UFC.com. Saturday, February 2nd, live on pay-per-view, it's UFC 81 Breaking Point, 10 in the East, 7 in the West. And then on Saturday, March 1st, the UFC returns to Columbus, Ohio, and the Nationwide Arena for UFC 82 Pride of a Champion. UFC middleweight champion Anderson Spider Silva clashes with Pride champion Dan Henderson to unify the titles and finally answer the question, who is the best middleweight fighter on the planet? Tickets go on sale tomorrow at the Nationwide Arena box office, Ticketmaster.com, and UFC.com. And that's what's coming up inside the Octagon. Brought to you by Tap Out. Same gear and clothing, different attitude and approach. Check out the new website at tapout.com. And you know what's coming up now? The fight we have waited so many years for. The former, long-time UFC light heavyweight champion, Chuck the Iceman Liddell, finally squares off against the ex-murderer, Wanderlei Silva. Mike Goldberg, Joe Rogan, 5 years he was dominant in Pride. For their entire lives, they've been as dangerous as any fighter we have ever seen. Chuck Liddell, 15 wins in the Octagon, most decorated light heavyweight champion ever, and ready to make a huge statement here tonight.
Absolutely, and Wanderlei Silva ready to make a huge statement in his Octagon debut. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better stylistic matchup. Let's be honest, we've had a couple of boring fights tonight. I can imagine no scenario possible where these two men meeting each other wouldn't equal explosive action. And that's what I think is going to happen. Both these guys are very determined. Wanderlei has stated that he does not care if he wins or loses. He wants to come out guns blazing and show everyone his style, the way he fights. And if you've seen him fight in Japan, when he was fighting for Pride, his style is just attack, constant, just relentless action, relentless aggression, relentless violence. And Chuck Liddell is the perfect antidote for that kind of attack. If Chuck Liddell's game is solid, what he likes to do is move away and counterattack. And he's done that with so many guys attacking him, with Babalu, with Randy Couture, and it has resulted in awesome knockouts. The two of them together just makes for a perfect fight.
We could tell mentally at the weigh-ins yesterday, both men are determined, both men are prepared. But you can also tell physically that Wanderlei Silva has never looked better, and either has Chuck Liddell.
No, both men look in peak physical condition. They both look very clear and very focused mentally, something that I didn't see in Chuck's eyes when he went in against Keith Jardine.
For sure.
I think Chuck might have taken Keith lightly, you know, and even against Rampage, he didn't look. I think he thought that he was going to walk away with that fight based on Rampage's fight with Marvin Eastman. I don't think he was as prepped. I think for this fight, we're seeing the most focused Chuck Liddell possible. He's not used to losing 2 fights in a row. He's not used to that feeling. He doesn't like it. He wants to be back on top, and this is his chance to show the world what he's capable of.
And as Wanderlei Silva has said before, I promise violence. I promise you a great fight. You, the fans, have texted us tonight, all night, and you can continue to text on the main event of the evening. But here's your final thoughts. 61% for Liddell, 39% for Silva. Our texting brought to you by Premier Fighter. Premier Fighter, your premier choice for MMA attire. Need we say more? We are finally set for the collision between Chuck Liddell and Wanderlei Silva inside the Octagon. The fight, 6 years in the making.
You ready? Let's get it on!
He's a true warrior. mixed martial arts. If you've never seen this guy fight before, when he fought in Pride, he's a relentless attacking striker who has excellent submission skills as well. He's dangerous off his back, he's got a great guard, and his punches, kicks, and knees are ferocious. His style is the most aggressive style I think I've ever seen in all of mixed martial arts, and that's why he's got such a huge fan following. Yesterday at the weigh-ins, he by far got the biggest round of applause next to Chuck Liddell.
Wanderlei Silva, the Axe Murderer, returns to the octagon for the first time since 2000. This man has been in the fight game for 12 years. He dominated the Pride middleweight division, which is 205. He dominated that for 5 years. For his 8 years overseas, he won 22 times. He has beaten a who's who in this game today. Rampage twice, Henderson, Sakuraba 3 times, Arona, Yoshida, Fujita, and tonight he wants to enjoy the biggest win of his career by finishing Chuck the Iceman Liddell.
And for this fight, Mike, he has completely changed his entire training schedule, his entire life, where he trains. He's moved to Las Vegas. He's picked up a whole new training partner, a whole new series of coaches. He's brought them all over from Brazil. He moved out of the shootbox camp, and he believes it's all for the better. He's working with American wrestlers now, working with different Muay Thai strikers, working with different jiu-jitsu coaches, and I'm beyond words here. I'm so pumped for this fight.
He defines cage fighter Wanderlei Silva for a team of Brazil. Now living and training, as Joe said, here in Las Vegas. And ready to re-enter the octagon with a vicious knockout.
Very focused, and the word from the training camp is that Chuck has been dialed in for months. He knows that it's a huge fight for him. He knows he's coming off 2 losses, and you know, this is do or die for a man that was once thought to be the greatest light heavyweight in the game. He's got to win this fight, and he's got to win this fight big. Stylistically, this is the perfect matchup for the fans. You couldn't ask for a better exchange.
Joe, it's interesting. Many have talked about when these men were both on top of the mountain, the fight should have happened then. But as Dana White pointed out on more than one occasion, this might be the best time for these men to go into battle because both have their backs against the wall.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There he is, the most recognizable face in the history of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Chuck the Iceman Liddell set to face Wanderlei Silva here tonight.
As we said, Wanderlei has changed up his training camp completely. Moved to Las Vegas. Chuck Liddell is still in the same exact place with John Hackleman, where he's always been comfortable, where he's had all of his success.
Vanderlei has fought 3 times in the UFC, but not since 2000 when he fought Tito Ortiz. We have waited a long time for him to return, and what a welcome Chuck Liddell wants to give him. Our tale of the tape for this historic light heavyweight matchup is brought to you by Harley-Davidson, the only motorcycles worthy of being in the octagon. Liddell 38, Silva 31, Liddell 6'2", Silva 5'11", 204, 205, the official weigh-in weights, and a 76-inch reach to a 74-inch reach for the Iceman, Chuck Liddell. Wow, I'm ready to get this big one underway, and to do so, the official introductions come once again from Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this UFC bout is sponsored by Mickey's Fine Malt Liquor, the official beer of the UFC. Mickey's Get Stung, and High Mob Watches, watch provider exclusively for the UFC. Please visit www.highmobwatches.com. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for has now become a reality. 2 legendary mixed martial arts warriors will finally face each other down in the world's ultimate proving ground, the Octagon. Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is 3 rounds in the UFC light heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, this man is a Muay Thai kickboxer who holds a professional record of 31 wins with 7 losses and 1 draw. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 205 pounds. Fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, by way of Curitiba, Brazil. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the former Pride middleweight champion, the Axe Murderer, Vanderlei Silva! And now, fighting out of the red corner, this man is a kickboxer, holding a professional record of 20 wins with 5 losses. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 204 pounds. Fighting out of San Luis Obispo, California, ladies and gentlemen, he is a former UFC light heavyweight champion, Chuck the Iceman Liddell! When the action begins, our referee in charge of this contest is Herb Dean.
Okay, gentlemen, we've been over the rules. Protect yourself at all times. Follow my instructions at all times. We're gonna have a nice, clean fight. Touch gloves, come out ready to do this.
Whoa, here we go, baby. The wait is finally over. Vanderlei Silva, Chuck Liddell, inside the octagon. Herb Dean, our referee.
You ready to fight? You ready? Let's do it.
Get ready, world. First round of this fight brought to you by High Mob Watches, the exclusive watch provider of the UFC. Please visit highmobwatches.com.
Both these men are starting out cautious. A lot of respect for each other.
Chuck loves to explode with that big right hand. Vanderlei likes to get inside and utilize those vicious knees in the Muay Thai clinch.
Chuck has a significant reach advantage in this fight. And you see, Chuck loves to counter. He likes the aggressive style of a guy like Vanderlei who wades in like that.
Chuck's ability to be in retreat mode and deliver a knockout blow is better than anybody's in the world. If you don't believe me, ask Babalu.
Yeah, he can deliver knockout power from very odd angles.
This right here is respect.
Yeah, this is certainly a feeling out process.
Both have always been quick to recognize the other's talents. and Stardom, but both have always said, I want to fight.
Well, you know what, Mike? These are two dogs that have been staring through the cage at each other for a long time.
Great way to put it. Chuck trying to lead with that jab, Joe.
Oh, good leg kick by Vanderlei.
Vanderlei backing up. Oh! Vanderlei playing a little possum. Vanderlei trying to counter. Chuck looking early for a finish.
Chuck going for the head kick.
Vanderlei laid back and then exploded. Chuck trying to set up that big right hand again.
Chuck is stalking Vanderlei here.
Chuck pushing
big right hand by Chuck.
Coming over the top.
Man, did he throw it into that one.
Chuck's really using the jab right now. And the one thing that was talked about in breaking down this fight by the many who have done it is that Chuck wanted to maintain a distance, create angles, and not let Vanderlei get inside. And he's keeping Vanderlei away with the jab, Joe.
Well, his advantage surely is the reach and his counterpunching ability. Vanderlei's advantage is his versatility, his leg kicks, and if it goes to the ground, Vanderlei has an advantage in submissions. I believe that Chuck has the advantage in knockout power with one punch as well.
Vanderlei tries to answer. Attack with the teep, Chuck Liddell. We've seen some kicks from Chuck, something that you and I have talked about we haven't seen in a long time, Joe.
Well, he's very versatile. I mean, Chuck can attack with more, but he's got so much success knocking guys out with punches that that's primarily what he focuses on in his fights.
Caught him, 1-2, boom, boom. Both of them, you saw the head snap back on 2 occasions.
Liddell with the right. He really charged in with that one.
Oh, simple
countered and smiled.
Well, we said they'd go toe-to-toe and swing, and here we go. Now it's starting to pick up.
If I was in Vanderlei's corner, I would be telling him to concentrate on leg kicks. That's what we saw in the Keith Jardine fight. The Keith was very effective after landing a lot of kicks.
Absolutely.
But Vanderlei is being drawn into a punching exchange with Chuck, where I think he has a disadvantage.
Remember, this is a non-title fight, so it is scheduled for 3 5-minute rounds. 40 seconds remains in round 1. Vanderlei has not gotten inside at all yet, Joe. And he's eaten some punches again.
Keith Jardine was very successful in the bout with Chuck Liddell by taking Chuck out of his game by landing a lot of leg kicks and body kicks.
Such a huge fight for Chuck Liddell tonight.
Vanderlei landed a left, Chuck countered with a right.
Trying to reestablish his superstardom, if you will.
Inside leg kick by Chuck.
Round 1 complete.
Here's the 1-2 by Chuck. Neither one of these punches that we've seen, none of them are landing full force and flush. But that's the first round. These guys got to settle in.
O tempo inteiro não anda para tua esquerda, sacou? Vai para tua direita, foge da mão direita dele. Isso. Foge da mão direita dele.
I would love to hear what John Hackleman is telling Chuck Liddell here.
You got to put your punches together. Okay, circle, put them together. You're pulling your right hand back. You're telegraphing your right hand. Okay, but it's landing. So this time, put your punches together. And when you land a combination, let them go. But you got to keep your chin down. Chin down, circle. Chin up.
It's got to be an advantage for Chuck to have a guy like Hackleman in his corner that he's been, with since he was a kid.
David Spade amongst the mega celebrities in attendance here tonight at the sold-out Mandalay Bay Event Center. Talk about a huge celebrity. These two both enjoying superstardom as two of the kings of the MMA world. Second round.
All right, the first round feeling out process is over.
Now here's Silva. He comes back with that vicious assault. You can't think that Vanderlei was happy with round one, Joe. And he's going to look to turn up the tempo here in round two.
Well, it was always thought that these exchanges, I mean, Vanderlei is such a wild puncher, and he throws looping wide punches. But it was always thought that a guy, a straight counter puncher who throws straight punches from a good distance like Chuck would have a good advantage against that. Vanderlei bleeding out of his left ear now.
You almost just sit back and go, this is an unbelievable moment because they're finally going toe-to-toe. Vanderlei Silva, Chuck Liddell. Kicks again. You heard John Hackleman say to start to put some combinations together. Chuck trying to do that.
Vanderlei counter with some nice punches there.
I talked to John Hackleman last night, Joe, and he just said, Chuck is ready.
I'm kind of surprised that Vanderlei's not throwing more kicks.
Vanderlei starting to score here a little bit.
This is basically like a wild boxing match.
Knockout or be knockout.
There you go. There's inside kick by Chuck.
And Vanderlei has not gotten into a clinch situation that we saw so effective against Rampage. There's a kick.
Body kick by Vanderlei.
And again, you know, it's funny, Eddie Bravo shared with me a conversation he had with Liddell way back in 2001. He said, there was one fighter that you would utilize your wrestling skills against. Who would it be? And Chuck said Vanderlei Silva. But that doesn't seem to be the game plan here tonight for Chuck.
Well, you know what? Chuck has become much more confident in his knockout ability. And
oh, Chuck is down, but just for a moment. That's a slip. The crowd reacted, though. Nearing the midway point of this colossal confrontation.
Good body
and again
kick
with the
by
body
Vanderlei.
kick, Vanderlei.
Vanderlei constantly pressing Chuck. Nice left hook by Vanderlei.
Vanderlei starting to score, as I mentioned earlier here. Chuck trying to come over the top again, left and right. Chuck's got a little cut. Over his right eye. Chuck goes down again.
Good right hand before he went down, though.
Wow, the expression in the eyes has just changed on Chuck Liddell, too. He's even gotten more intense, it would appear. Look at the look in the eyes of Chuck Liddell.
Good jab by Chuck.
Good left by Vanderlei.
There's a leg kick.
Chuck still, though, is the one doing the stalking, Joe. Here might be the first time for Vanderlei to utilize the clinch in the knees.
Good left by Chuck.
Chuck pushing forward.
Wild punches. Vanderlei's bleeding.
Chuck has opened up Vanderlei Silva.
Wow, that is a lot of blood.
And an elbow by Liddell.
Whoa!
No single person is sitting here inside the Mandalay Bay.
Vanderlei is bloody. Good right hand by Vanderlei. Now Chuck's bleeding.
Vanderlei again, combination.
Vanderlei.
Under 30 seconds remaining in the round. Buckled him. Chuck again, looking to finish. Swinging uppercuts. Liddell's got a leg. And a takedown. Final seconds of the second round.
Don't kick the face. Don't kick the face.
Are you kidding me?
Wow. What a round. The second half of that round was crazy. You see Vanderlei Silva's cut. He has a tremendous amount of scar tissue all around his eyes. A lot of that from the old Vale Tudo days. Vanderlei fought a lot of bare-knuckle fights in Brazil.
All right, Chuck, put your combinations together. Let's get an ice blitz this round, okay? Ice blitz. He's 10 times more time there. Suck it up and breathe.
Here's a look at some of the exchanges. I mean, tremendous amount of exchanges in that round. There's a left-right. That was the right hand that Chuck landed very well, but then he slipped trying to move away. Chuck attacking here. I mean, great round. Phenomenal round.
Third and final round. Takedown, Chuck Liddell!
Right away. That was a surprise. Vanderlei back to his feet.
Chuck tried to clip him on the way up.
That was a shock right there.
Just something else for Vanderlei to think about.
Exactly. Just Chuck showing people he's capable of a lot more than you're used to.
For sure. Now all of a sudden he's got to think about the takedown. Inside leg kick Silva. Head kick. Blocked by Chuck. Vanderlei still putting combinations together. Both men are in excellent condition coming into this fight, as we mentioned earlier. If you saw All Access, you saw the crazy workout routine of Vanderlei Silva. Chuck just poking with that right. Oh, over the top again. 3 minutes, 48 seconds. Silva coming in. Liddell, good footwork. Joe, it's like Chuck Liddell has his swagger back.
Yeah, he looks very confident coming into this third round. Good left hand by Vanderlei. That's when Vanderlei's the most dangerous, when he's windmilling those punches in the exchanges.
Lots of time remains.
Chuck throwing that 1-2. Not much behind it, but it finds a home.
Joe, are you surprised Silva hasn't been able to get inside?
Well, you know, Chuck's an elusive guy. I mean, the way his style is, I mean, even though he's such a
spinning back fist.
Silva was hurt. Oh, he's hurt back.
Silva rocked again. Liddell looking to finish. Chuck Liddell all over Vanderlei Silva. Silva's in trouble.
Chuck Liddell looked up at the time. 2 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Vanderlei is badly hurt.
Spinning back fist, Chuck Liddell.
That started it out. That was the most significant exchange of the fight. Chuck, he blew a lot of energy doing that.
2 minutes remain. Vanderlei pushes forward. He knows he must explode here. Chuck Liddell is winning this fight.
Chuck would love nothing better to be able to put him away here.
Vanderlei swings and misses. Chuck teeing off again. Silva's in trouble. Silva's wobbly.
Right hand by Vanderlei.
Regains his composure.
Chuck again looked up at that time. He blew out a lot of energy trying to put Silva away there.
That exchange was right in front of us, Joe, and you could see the arms just slow down as Liddell tried to finish the fight.
Well, he's pacing himself because he doesn't want to get to a position where he becomes defenseless, where he blows out so much energy that he can't defend himself.
And at this point, while he wants nothing more than to knock out Vanderlei Silva, he also knows that he's 1 minute away from one of the biggest, if not the biggest wins of his professional career.
Vanderlei still pressing. You got to admire the guy's heart.
45 seconds. We never doubted the heart of either of these warriors. And it's just a treat to be here in person to watch this fight. 30 seconds.
Chuck's got another round. Is almost over. If he's going to put it up, try to put him away. This is it.
Takedown number 2. 15 seconds.
Hammer fist.
The Iceman Liddell is back.
Wow. Huge victory for Chuck Liddell. Huge victory for Chuck Liddell.
The Iceman returned.
There was a lot of pressure on Chuck coming into this fight. And he came through in flying colors.
To his championship form.
He wasn't able to put Vanderlei away, but boy, did he blast him in that last round.
Credit Vanderlei Silva for that.
Here's the spinning back fist that started it off. That had Vanderlei wobbled, and Chuck just really turned it on here. That right hand, another right hand.
The arms will be raised again for the long-time UFC light heavyweight champion. And what heart, spirit, and courage shown tonight by Vanderlei Silva. We have been treated to the two most dominant 205-pound fighters in mixed martial arts history finally meeting here tonight. Dana White has wanted this one for a long time, and it lived up to its billing. Bruce Buffer has the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. Tony Weeks scores the contest 29-28. Adelaide Bird has it 30-27. And Dave Hagen scores the contest 30-27, declaring the winner by unanimous decision, Chuck the Iceman Liddell.
Welcome back, Iceman. Although you never did leave. Here's Joe.
All right, I'm here with the Iceman. First of all, congratulations and welcome back.
Thank you. It was great to be back at home here in Vegas.
That was one of the most exciting fights of your career. You had him badly hurt in that final round. Did you think you were going to be able to put him away?
You know, he had a lot better chin than I thought he did. I hit him with a lot of shots real hard, and he still kept coming. I hurt him a few times during the fight, but he just covered up and kept coming.
Most people thought throughout your entire career that you guys were perfectly suited to each other. His attacking style, your vicious counter-punching style, it really came to focus tonight.
I think exactly what I said. It would have been a travesty if both of us didn't fight, because it's a great fight for the fans. By the way, guys, after party's at Studio 54 if you want to come hang out.
Chuck, always with the after fight party. All right, take a look at the Mickey's replay and talk us through some of the action here, Chuck.
We back it up and had him hurt a little bit, but you know, he recovers quick. Hit that flash thing that gets hurt, but he was there and we're just swinging. You know, that's just a good old fashioned standing there and bang each other.
Now, this was a fight, like you said, that would be a travesty if it didn't happen. This really, truly tonight was mixed martial arts history. Did you feel the significance of that coming in this fight tonight?
Yeah, I knew this was a big fight for everybody, especially for me to get back on track to winning my title back.
Well, back on track you did. A phenomenal performance. We look forward to seeing you again.
Hey guys, I want to thank Cal Pods Wrestling team, Sammy Hansen for helping me out for this one too. Thanks.
Chuck Liddell, ladies and gentlemen.
Chuck the Iceman Liddell, and now the always classy Wanderlei Silva.
All right, I'm here with Wanderlei. Wanderlei, this fight was a long time coming, 6 years in the making. Give us your thoughts on the fight.
Yeah, he's a very tough guy. He win, he's a real. And I give my best. Win or lose for me, I like to give the emotion for my fans here and everywhere. Thanks, my guys. Thanks for coming. My pleasure. I give my best. Next time, I'll go to win. And possible talking for my friends in Brazil. Aí, galera, dei o meu melhor, valeu. Próxima vez eu vou ganhar, honrar nossa bandeira. E abraço para toda a galera que está acompanhando aí no Brasil, em todo o Brasil. Próxima vez, se Deus quiser, o Silva ganha. Dei o meu melhor, espero que vocês tenham gostado do show. Abraço para todo mundo aí e fique com Deus. Thanks, guys.
Well, Wanderlei, like this fight, like all of your fights, you have one of the most exciting styles in all mixed martial arts. You always make exciting fights, and we look forward to seeing you again. Wanderlei Silva, ladies and gentlemen.
That man is pure class. Mandy Moore here tonight. She likes Chuck Liddell. And so does that guy, Quentin Rampage Jackson, the light heavyweight champion. Perhaps he and Chuck are set to collide again. What a great fight. Take a look inside the locker room of the former welterweight champion, George Rush St. Pierre, as he continues to warm up for tonight's main event of the evening against this man, Matt Hughes, the former longtime UFC welterweight champion. You know, all UFC fighters have their own technique for getting ready for a big fight. But how does a one-man army psych himself up as he heads out into battle? Check out this clip from the upcoming motion picture, Rambo, to find out.
You know what you are, what you're made of. War's in your blood. Don't fight it. You didn't kill for your country. You killed for yourself. God's never gonna make that go away. When you're pushed, killing's as easy as breathing.
Unbelievably, we still have tonight's main event of the evening. Chuck the Iceman Liddell and Wanderlei Silva did not disappoint, and I don't expect these two great welterweights to disappoint either. Our main event features the third matchup between George Rush St. Pierre and Matt Hughes. I'm still a little dumbfounded. It's almost like you had to catch your breath.
That was pretty exciting, man. That was a wild ride.
What if I told you that George St. Pierre and Matt Hughes are going to fight now?
You know what? Look, this easily could be more exciting or as exciting as that fight. This is a phenomenal stylistic matchup, especially since Matt Hughes decided to go back to his roots and really focus and concentrate on his wrestling for this fight. I mean, he knows that he can't stand with George St. Pierre. He knows he has submitted George St. Pierre in the past, and I think this is going to be a phenomenal fight.
Talking to the insiders that know Matt Hughes very well, they tell me that Matt has trained like he never has before for tonight because he really wanted to punish Matt Serra, who we hope gets well soon. But in so doing, he has prepared himself better than he's ever been for the challenge, which is GSP.
Well, he's very confident. You know, you can tell that by the fact that he's willing to take this fight on short notice.
For sure.
Not preparing for George St. Pierre, preparing for Matt Serra. Now, George St. Pierre also took this fight on short notice, but he had been training for the possibility that Matt Serra pulled out. So he was preparing for it just in case, kept himself in peak condition. I have never seen either one of these guys any more confident. Matt Hughes looks very focused, very calm, and very confident coming into this fight, which is huge. And so does George St. Pierre. And this is going to be an amazing fight.
George St. Pierre said, I had a premonition that one of the Matts wasn't going to be able to fight tonight. He was right. The winner will challenge Matt Serra down the road, but tonight it's about settling the score. Our score on the tallies of our text voters all night long have led the way of Matt Hughes by a slight advantage, and it stays a 50-50 matchup. And what a matchup we expect it to be. Texting all night from Premier Fighter, your premier choice for mixed martial arts attire. I said at the top of the show, tonight we feature the Big Four of the best in the history of the sport. 2 have gone toe-to-toe, and now these 2 will battle again.
Could be the finish. He brings him down hard. Matt Hughes looking at submission, and it's all over. Matt Hughes is once again the welterweight champion. Please, I want the belt so bad. Get it to me. Big kick. Down George here. St. Pierre tries to finish it. George St. Pierre is the new welterweight champion. This sport is so crazy. You just never know what's going to happen.
UFC welterweight championship.
Matt Serra's been doing a lot of talking about me. I was very excited to fight him, but now that he's hurt, I'm fighting George, and that's a exciting fight as well for me, in that I get to rematch the guy who beat me last.
This loss is the best thing ever happened to me. It made me stronger, and next time I will fight Matt Serra, it's going to be a different story.
Is GSP back? You better believe he is.
I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm sharper than ever, stronger than ever, more powerful than I've ever been. Now it's a rubber match. It's the 3rd time that we're going to fight each other, and a lot of stuff happened outside of the ring and inside of the ring.
I'm not impressed by your performance, and I look forward to fight you in the near future.
I feel very comfortable taking this fight with George St. Pierre.
No matter if I like that guy or not, he's not my friend. It's going to be all about business, and I'm going to do my job, and my job is going to be to destroy my opponent.
Don't count Matt Hughes as the same fighter you fought last time.
Matt Hughes is a huge motivation to me. In my book, he's probably the best welterweight right now, and there is one way to take his crown is to beat him.
I've already fought George St. Pierre, I've already beat him, and I get to do it again.
History, Matt Hughes. And one of the things we've learned about Matt Hughes over the years, like the true champion he is, every time he's lost, he's come back better. He's come back more focused, more confident, and I expect that from him tonight. He knows everything George St. Pierre is capable of. He's faced him on 2 separate occasions, both in victory and defeat. And I think we're going to see the best Matt Hughes of his career tonight.
To a certain degree, this fight for Matt Hughes is somewhat similar to the fight we just saw from the perspective of Chuck Liddell. Because even though Hughes came back and he beat Chris Lytle, who's a worthy opponent, he was truly dominated by GSP in the last matchup. And some are saying maybe Matt's better days are behind him, and he, as as Chuck just did, wants to prove the naysayers wrong.
Well, in all fairness, that fight was after the most impressive performance of his entire career. We absolutely destroyed Royce Gracie, and everybody thought that he was the greatest fighter ever. I mean, styles make fights, decisions during those fights affect the outcome greatly. The decision to stand, the decision to try to take it to the ground, the decision to try to be elusive. I mean, I think Matt Hughes tonight, he's going to take a completely different approach than we saw in the second fight. And I don't think these fights are going to be even remotely similar.
Not only the win against Royce Gracie, but the defense of his title, Joe, against BJ the Prodigy Penn.
And a fight where he was tested, very much so. In the first 2 rounds, he was in a lot of trouble with BJ Penn.
Here he is, the most decorated welterweight in UFC history, Matt Hughes.
You can tell a lot by the way Matt looks coming into this fight. He looks very focused and very confident.
But he was killed by a man with a switchblade knife. For $43, my friend lost his life.
Hughes is ready to battle.
Trop de choses qui se passent dans le réseau, on sait. On ne va pas parler, on sait. Ça se passe juste à côté de toi, on sait. On pense que la vie est belle, on sait. Ça faut commencer. C'est trop hostile.
Le côté sombre de Montréal, 514, nombre 5, Austin, sauf quand le buzz est allumé. Je l'ai vu, tu l'as vu, on l'a vu. Le business illégal, c'est ça qui contrôle la rue, la violence, le sexe, la drogue et tout ça pour l'argent dans le territoire hostile. Tout s'achète et tout se prend. Hey yo, back in the days, y'a un black qui s'appelait Black, qui pensait que le rap, ouais, qui donne de crack. Tu sais les grosses marques, le Johnny de la outclass, c'est grave.
The French Canadian, George Rush St. Pierre.
Possibly the most athletically gifted guy in all of mixed martial arts. An explosive guy. I mean, he's got long legs, and he utilizes those long legs, and he's very light on his feet. Very good at avoiding takedowns. We saw that in his fight against Josh Koscheck. Now, the word from his training camp is that he was training with guys like Rashad Evans and some really tough fighters, and he was taking them all down at will, which is very impressive considering George has no high school or college wrestling in his background. He basically learned wrestling as a martial art when he was competing as a mixed martial artist. That's almost unheard of, to have a guy so successful in one aspect of sport without, really any competition, a formal competition the way we're used to in the States.
For a long time, he has trained his wrestling with members of the Canadian national team, and his wrestling has become so good that he actually considered wrestling in the Olympics for his home country of Canada.
Yeah, that really is amazing. It is a testament to his athleticism. Very explosive guy. Kyokushin karate black belt, great strikes, great takedowns, great submission defense, and great takedown defense. He was really an all-around package and epitomizes the modern-day mixed martial artist.
In the first fight, George St. Pierre landed a spinning back kick. It kind of rocked Hughes for a second, but he lost that fight with 1 second remaining in the round via submission. The second fight, 25 months later, pretty much we saw a fight-ending head kick. And now the trilogy is about to be completed. Welcome back inside the octagon, George Rush St. Pierre. They are fighting for the interim welterweight title. Our tale of the tape for this, our main event of the evening, is brought to you by Harley-Davidson, the only motorcycles worthy of being in the octagon. The French-Canadian St. Pierre, 8 years younger than the American Matt Hughes. George Rush St. Pierre has a 3-inch reach advantage. Here we go again. Chapter 2 of this wonderful book tonight. And for the official introductions, once again, here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this UFC championship bout is sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission with Chairman John Bailey and commissioners in attendance Skip Avancino Jr., Bill D. Bradley, T.J. Day, and Pat Lundvall. Our 3 judges scoring this championship bout are Glenn Trowbridge, Nelson Hamilton, and Jeff Mullen, and Executive Director Keith Izar. Our lead physician at Octagon side is Dr. David Watson. And when the action begins, our referee in charge of the Octagon is Steve Mazzagatti. This championship bout is sponsored by Harley-Davidson, the only motorcycles worthy of being in the Octagon. Toyo Tires, the official tire of the UFC. Toyo Tires, driven to perform. And Rambo, heroes never die, they just reload. Rambo in theaters January 25th. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 former UFC champions have now entered the Octagon to go to war against each other for the 3rd time. And now, live from the sold-out Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, it's time! 5 rounds for the UFC Interim Welterweight Championship. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This UFC warrior holds a professional record of 43 wins with 5 losses. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 170 pounds. Fighting out of Hillsboro, Illinois. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the former UFC welterweight champion, And now, introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man holds a professional record of 14 wins with 2 losses. He stands 5 feet tall, weighing in at 170 pounds. Fighting out of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the former UFC welterweight champion, George Rush St. Pierre.
All right, gentlemen, here we go again. We will have a clean, fair fight. You need to obey my commands, protect yourself at all times. Now let's hook them up. Good luck.
George St. Pierre. Matt Hughes. Time to settle the score. Interim welterweight title to be delivered to the victor.
All right, here we go. Bring it on, come on.
We are underway. First round of this fight brought to you by High Mob Watches, the exclusive watch provider of the UFC. Please visit highmobwatches.com. Southpaw stance for Matt Hughes.
Well, the big question in this fight is how does Matt Hughes deal with the speed and athleticism of George St. Pierre? And when you saw he went immediately for that ankle, it looks like to take him down.
Hughes leading with the right.
Well, you know what? Matt Hughes is a wrestler, and he might be more comfortable taking people down with his right leg forward.
Excellent point. And that's what he wants to do, undoubtedly. He wants to take George St. Pierre down.
The problem is, to get close enough to take him down, he's got to get in the danger zone. And again, he reaches.
Got to set that up. We just talked about the ever-improving wrestling of George St. Pierre. So that would include takedown defense as well.
Well, one of the reasons why he's so good at wrestling is because he's so fast and explosive. I mean, you see how light he is on his feet as well. A lot of guys, when they fight in the octagon, they're good strikers, they make the mistake of being flat-footed. George is constantly moving, always on the balls of his feet, always moving around. And because of that, it's very, very difficult to grab a hold of him and take him down.
Joe, in preparing for this matchup and the many articles and things that I read.
Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, that's some serious takedown defense there. You're talking about an All-American wrestler like Matt Hughes who was deep in on that takedown, and George got out of it immediately.
It was amazing that since UFC 50, the first matchup of these two,
he takes Matt down.
St. Pierre has only been on his back for a minute in all his fights. He's the aggressor in the wrestling game.
Well, he really proved that in his last bout against Josh Koscheck.
He landed every takedown attempt against Josh Koscheck.
And again, that was the word out of the training camp, was that he was able to take these fighters down. Guys like Rashad Evans, who's also a great college wrestler, he was able to take him down at will, but they weren't able to take George down. That's huge.
Jiu-jitsu-wise, both have skills. In fact, Hughes has very underestimated submission attempt, or submission power.
Because of the fact that he's a wrestler, a lot of people have forgotten the fact that he's one of the most successful submission artists in MMA. The wins over Frank Trigg, the win over George St. Pierre, the win over Joe Diesel Riggs. He has submitted many, many fighters.
St. Pierre trying to utilize a little ground and pound.
George is past a half guard here.
Ground and pound, St. Pierre. Taking a page out of the game plan of Matt Hughes.
Matt back to full guard here. He's pressed up against the cage.
This is considered a title fight, Joe, so it is scheduled for 5 5-minute rounds.
Matt's throwing his legs up, looking for a submission.
St. Pierre has been submitted just one time in his career. That, of course, was by Matt Hughes. And for Matt Hughes, who is in trouble now, he needs to survive this position up against the fence. In 48 fights, Hughes has been submitted just 3 times.
Two of them by one man, Dennis Hallman, the other by BJ Penn. Matt's doing a good job of controlling George's posture and eliminating too much damage.
They warned him about the strikes to the back of the head. Full mount St. Pierre.
And look at this slam that he's doing where he comes up, brings Matt with him, and then slams him down, trying to get Matt to release that body lock.
St. Pierre warned again. He's got to be careful where he hits Matt Hughes. Full mount, Matt continues to hold on with his great strength, trying to survive this first round. George has got to be careful now. He's been warned 3 times, Joe.
He's digging that elbow, and he's finally managed to break it loose, and Matt gets it back again.
10 seconds remains in round number 1.
A dominant round for George St. Pierre.
How about St. Pierre? He has the back.
He him over. He's got his back.
We're going to hear the horn, though.
He's got an arm. Dominant round for George St. Pierre.
And remember, the first fight ended by submission with 1 second remaining in the round.
That was complete, total domination by George St. Pierre.
He's seeing those shots because you're throwing those punches like a fake. You got to throw them like you mean them. When you're on the ground, you need to ball up tighter. Don't get stretched out between your arm and your leg. That's how he got mounted. When he's up high, you drop down onto that calf for that single. You know what I'm saying? Drop really low. I know, you're all right.
That's Jeremy Horn.
Strike a little, put him down. Remember, George?
And Greg Jackson.
If he goes southpaw, right and right. He's got some Vaseline on his head.
He's got a big gob of Vaseline on his right eyebrow that they're going to have to wipe off.
Steve Mazzagatti sees it.
I'm amazed that he's not doing anything about that.
Checking the fighters. And here we go, second round. Southpaw again. Funny when Jeremy Horn said, "You're all right," Matt said, "I know." But round one looked like a Matt Hughes fight against his many opponents in which he beat down. But it was George St. Pierre in top position. This our main event here at UFC 79.
Again,
another
George
takedown.
takes him down.
And quickly into the half guard.
This does not bode well for Matt Hughes. The fact that George is able to take him down so easily, and what happened in the first round when he did take him down.
Hughes trying to strike from the bottom. St. Pierre in the full guard of Matt Hughes.
Well, Matt's doing a good job of keeping him in that full guard. And there's
one. George St. Pierre taking this fight on 30 days notice. You talk about an early Christmas present. And many said, actually, George St. Pierre was the welterweight who saved Christmas and was more than willing to fight Matt Hughes tonight. Both men should be credited for taking this matchup when Matt Serra was forced to withdraw due to injury.
Elbow from the bottom by Hughes.
Watch your thumb, man.
St. Pierre wants that rematch against Serra. Hughes wants Serra as well. More of the same so far here in the beginning of round two.
But Hughes is doing a good job of avoiding too much damage now. Because he's able to keep George in full guard here. Now George is trying the can opener by pulling back on Matt's head like that. What he's trying to do is get Matt to release his legs. By putting pressure on the neck, it gets a guy to open the guard up. So because George is looking for that, it makes me think George is looking to pass. The legs are open now.
Body head from St. Pierre.
Matt gets back to full guard.
Midway point of the round. St. Pierre now training in Albuquerque on frequent occasion with Greg Jackson. Continuing to work his ground game.
George has passed the side control. Matt is trying to control one of his wrists here.
Half guard now for Hughes.
Now this is a better position. This is what we call twister side control. If he can get out of this, the side, there, he mounts him. He mounts him and he takes his back.
And this time he's got plenty of time, Joe.
With deep hooks.
Hughes is really tough to choke out, we know that.
He's completely dominating him on the ground. When Matt tried to turn over into his guard, George is having none of it. Stuffs him back up against the cage.
St. Pierre has said many times the best learning experience of his life was the loss to Matt Serra.
George's on his back again. Now Matt's up. Now Matt's got George's legs.
Let's see if he can take him down.
1 minute left. 1 minute left.
How many times have we seen Hughes not get the takedown in this position? Not many.
The only problem is he may be exhausted.
45 seconds remaining in the second round. Knees inside, another takedown by St. Pierre.
Takedown.
Right into side control. 30 seconds remains in the round.
Matt Hughes is really getting overwhelmed in this fight. George just stepped over for a triangle.
20 seconds.
He's got a Kimura on one side and a possible triangle on the other.
Trying to submit Hughes. Not quite yet. And it's all over. It is all over. George Rush St. Pierre defeats Matt Hughes again.
Wow. You want to talk about a dominating victory. It might not have been as quick as the second fight, but it was just as dominant, if not dominant. George just completely outclassed Matt Hughes in this fight. Let's take a look at the end again. Here's the takedown. And look at this sweep. Boom! A beautiful throw. Immediately to side control, elbow to the face. Now he's got a possible triangle on that one side with the left arm, and he goes for a Kimura on the right arm. Now as he pops the Kimura out, Matt Bridges tries to roll him over, leaves that arm extended. George takes it, rolls with it, straightens that arm out completely, and Matt is in deep, deep, deep trouble. He taps verbally, and Steve Mazzagatti separates him. I mean, George had turned him, got a better grip on the lip, and he's saying, I'm tapping. Right there. Unbelievably dominant victory for George St. Pierre.
And he can break dance as well. St. Pierre spent a lot of time training with Renzo Gracie, and the jiu-jitsu skills reign supreme here tonight. Bruce Buffer with the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Steve Mazzagatti has called a stop to this contest at 4 minutes 54 seconds of the second round, declaring the winner by verbal tap out due to an arm bar. And now, the interim UFC welterweight champion, George Rush St. Pierre.
All right, I'm here with the winner, George St. Pierre. Now, George, you lost your title to Matt Serra. When you found out that Matt Serra and Matt Hughes were fighting, you thought that possibly one of them could get injured and you could take one of their places.
Exactly, so that's why I'm gonna take off this belt, because for me, yes, it's a good collection, but doesn't mean nothing to me. Thanks to the UFC to give me that. It's a good honor, but the real champion is Matt Serra, and until I don't get my belt back, I'm not gonna consider myself champion.
Now, George, you stated that fight, that loss to Matt Serra, was the best thing to happen to you. Why is that?
Absolutely. Matt Serra that night beat me fair and square. He was a better man. I make many mistakes. I had a lot of issues, but he was a better man that night. Next time, when I fight him, he might be a different story and people will understand what I'm talking about.
George, please take a look at the big screen up there and talk us through the Mickey's replay.
Well, Matt Hughes adjusts himself. He came in the fight left-handed. I was not prepared for that. I used my wrestling skill to control the fight, and my submission skill as well. I've been working a lot on that. I had an awesome training camp. I was on the top of my game.
Well, congratulations on the interim title.
Well, before I finish, okay, I would like to say thank you everybody for the support. I wish you a happy new year, and everybody back home. À tout le monde qui me regarde à la maison au Québec, je vous remercie pour le support. Je vous souhaite une bonne année. Come party with me at Tangerine. Thank you.
George St. Pierre, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you,
George St. Pierre, gracious, and what a statement he makes about the forthcoming matchup to solidify the title against Matt Serra. Now here's Matt Hughes with Joe.
I am here with the former champion, one of the most successful fighters ever to fight in the octagon. Matt, obviously you're disappointed. Give us your thoughts on the fight.
I came in, no excuses here. I came in 120%. I really trained hard for this fight. I brought in some of the best people. We really had a good game plan. George is a better fighter. There's nothing else I can say besides that. I do want to thank my fans for showing up, and I also want to thank George's fans for showing up, because that's who's paying our way, to be honest.
Matt, you've always been classy in defeat, always been classy in victory. What do you do from here? You've said publicly that you only want to fight a few more times. Do you want to go back home and think about it for a while, or what?
You know, it's funny, I was just thinking, I just released a book, and people have read it, and they've already wanted a second book, and you know, a defeat like this, in the second round against George. I just don't know how much longer I've got in this. He's a young kid. He's doing great. And, you know, I gotta sit down. I gotta think about things, and I gotta talk with Dana and the UFC and see what they want me to do. So just a lot of things on my mind right now.
Well, as a fan, I want to thank you for all the fantastic fights over the years, all the excitement that you've provided for all these fans. Thank you very much for everything you've done. Matt Hughes, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks.
If this is the final time we will see him inside the octagon, we thank him for the many great moments. The most decorated champion in welterweight history, Matt Hughes, defeated again tonight by George Rush St. Pierre, who says, get rid of this belt. I want the one that Sarah owns. UFC 79 Nemesis has been brought to you by Mickey's Fine Malt Liquor, the official beer of the UFC. Mickey's, get stung. And by Toyo Tires. Toyo Tires, driven to perform. Toyo Tires, the official tire of the UFC. Everything has been outstanding tonight, and so was this earlier inside the octagon. Armenian Manvel Gamburyan earned star status on the Ultimate Fighter 5. Tonight with a healed shoulder, he returns to claim his first UFC win at the expense of Nate Moore. Hard-hitting Illinois product Nate Moore bounced back from a slow start to his mixed martial arts career by winning 5 of his last 6 bouts, 4 by TKO. Most impressive in this run for the 24-year-old was a 3-round unanimous decision victory over Luke Caudillo in June, in which he put on a stand-up fighting clinic for UFC fans. Tonight, Moore, a 2-time Golden Gloves and kickboxing champion, will be tested again by Armenian tank Manny Gamburyan.
I'm looking to get the knockout, but overall I'm just planning on tagging him a couple times and finishing with the win.
What started as a dream run to the finals of the Ultimate Fighter's 5th season for Manny Gamburyan soon turned into a nightmare when a severe shoulder injury forced him to submit in the 2nd round of the finale against Nate Diaz. But living up to his nickname of Pitbull, Gamburyan rehabbed the injury, got back in the gym, and requested a return to the octagon as soon as possible. Tonight, the proud Armenian returns to the octagon to face Nate Moore.
I'm gonna win. It's gonna be a submission, TKO, knockout. I just want to finish him.
Coming up next, Nate Moore takes on Manny, the Pitbull Gamburyan.
You tell me how much I can work on my striking, and you're gonna be impressed.
A very relaxed and confident-looking Nate Moore. Nate Moore brings real solid kickboxing into this bout, and he's been training jiu-jitsu with Jeff Curran. We've seen him twice in the UFC. Once he was submitted by ankle lock by Kurt Pellegrino. And his last fight, he looked very impressive when he pounded out a unanimous decision over Luke Caudillo. Solid kickboxer, 2-time Golden Glove champion. Young guy, 24 years of age with a very bright future. And he's got a real interesting task in front of him, taking on Ultimate Fighter contender Manny Gamburyan. There's Jeff Curran, WEC contender, who is also a jiu-jitsu coach.
Nate Moore, 8 wins in his mixed martial arts career. He has won 5 of his last 6 fights, Joe. And with Curran in his corner, you know that his ground skills are ever improving. But striking is his forte. This young man entertained us all on the Ultimate Fighter 5. First he submitted Noah Thomas, then Matt Wyman. Then he won a decision over Joe Lozon. Then, in the Ultimate Fighter 5 finale, he looked really good against Nate Diaz until, boom, he separated his shoulder and the fight came to an end.
Yeah, that has been a chronic injury for Manny Gamburian. Manbull the Anvil, or like he calls himself, Manbull the Pitbull now. And he really is a pitbull. He's well-versed in judo and submissions, trained by the man you see behind him, Gokar Kavician, a very famous judo stylist himself. He teaches out of North Hollywood, California. And Manny Gamburian was on his way to the title. Had won that first round fairly cleanly and was going into the second round. In the finals, the Ultimate Fighter against Nate Diaz and blew his shoulder out. He has since rehabbed that shoulder, tightened it up, and hopefully it will no longer be a problem for him.
Yeah, he chose not to have surgery. He definitely showed us that he is truly a pit bull, and he is as strong as they come pound for pound in mixed martial arts today. The native of Armenia, of course a cousin of Carl Parisian, trained with Carl for over 15 years, and Gokar Kavician in his corner tonight. And you know, when you look at the system, which is the one Gamburian uses, it starts with judo, then it goes all Gokar. Our tale of the tape for this lightweight matchup brought to you by Harley-Davidson, the only motorcycles worthy of being in the octagon. The 26-year-old Armenian is only 5'5". Nate Moore is 5'9". Nate Moore has a huge reach advantage, but as Manville has shown us in the past, that doesn't seem to make a huge difference. Here with the official introductions, once again, it's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the UFC lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This man holds a professional record of 8 wins with 4 losses. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, weighing in at 155 pounds. Fighting out of Crystal Lake, Illinois, Nate Moore. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man holds a professional record of 5 wins with 3 losses. Standing 5 feet 5 inches tall, weighing in at 155 pounds, fighting out of Hollywood, California, Manville the Anvil Gamburian. And when the action begins, our referee in charge of this contest is Herb Dean.
Herb Dean, our referee. Manny Gamburian. Nate Moore. This fight should have an incredible pace.
You ready to fight?
The striker.
Ready. Let's do this.
The Gokar Kavician trained judo specialist.
And you see Manny just furious pace he puts on. Always attacking, always pushing forward. I mean, the Pitbull really is the perfect nickname for this guy.
Either that or Tasmanian Devil or Armenian Devil.
Ferocious competitor. And Nate Moore, no slouch of his own. Nate Moore's got some really good striking, gives great angles, good takedown defense.
Manny is just so compact and so strong. Came to the United States in 1991. Fought for the first time in mixed martial arts when he was just 15 years old.
Manny working very hard for the takedown here. He's got a body lock. He's got Nate down.
And the strength of Manny Gamburian can be felt by his opponent even in this type of position.
Nate Moore working very hard here to hold Manny in this posture, keep him from sitting up and raining down blows on him. Nate's doing a good job so far of locking in that guard and controlling Manny's posture. See as Manny tries to stand up, and what he's trying to do is trying to shake Moore off him. There he goes. He just wants to make sure he can get some space so he can drop some bombs. And eventually he would like to pass this and get into a dominant position.
Manny's trying to get some distance to posture.
Good right hand by Manny. He drops down for a leg lock, and he is very good at leg locks. And this is a good time for it because they're both dry.
And it's all over! It is all over! Manny Gamburian submits Nate Moore!
He might have gotten injured there too. He's in some serious pain here. The highest on camp under Gokar Kavician, very well known for their knee bars and leg locks. Let's take a look at this again. Nate Moore is badly hurt here. You see, he falls back immediately.
It's hard to tell what he's doing there, whether it's an ankle lock or a heel hook. It looks like he damaged the knee.
Well, Joe, as you know, you can put so much torque on that knee there. And look at the pain.
Yeah, horrible.
That Nate Moore was experiencing.
Horrible pain still. He's still lying on his back sweating.
He's up.
Manny Gamburian wins fast.
That is what the ground game is all about. Manny Gamburian, a victor here tonight. Bruce Buffer with the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Herb Dean has called a stop to this contest at 1 minute 31 seconds of the very first round, declaring the winner by tap out due to an ankle lock, Manville the Anvil Gamburian.
Some still believe he would have been the Ultimate Fighter if it weren't for the shoulder going, and he wins tonight. He is with Joe.
All right, I'm here with a very happy Manville Gamburian. Very quick. That's how you got it. You got to hold that angle, and from there it was all you.
First of all, I want to thank God I was safe tonight because of my last fight against Nate Diaz. I was prepared really good, but it didn't come out good. But it's all right. I'll get him back. I'll get him back.
All right, Manny, take a look at the Mickey's replay and talk us through this ankle lock. As soon as you grabbed the hold of that leg, it was all over.
To be honest with you, I'm sorry, Nate, but I think I broke this leg. When I pulled it, it like jerked it. I'm so sorry, man. I worked hard for you, man. He's a great guy, great fighter. Looking forward to the next fight. Yeah.
Well, I know you had a disappointing finale in The Ultimate Fighter when your shoulder popped out. Well, now, I understand you've done some rehab and it's all better now?
It's all good. Thanks to my doctors. I want a special thanks to Dr. Sanders. I love you, Dr. Sanders. UFC, Joe Silva, Dana White. I love you guys. With you guys, I'm nothing, dude. Thank you guys for giving me a fight.
Congratulations, Manny. Great to see you victorious again. We look forward to seeing you one more time. Manny Gamburian, ladies and gentlemen.
How do you not love Manny Gamburian? A big win for Manny earlier here tonight. That was a tremendous submission, but our submission of the night does not go to Manny. Our submission of the night brought to you by Tap Out. Same gear and clothing, different attitude and approach.
George Ross St. Pierre showing his tremendous jiu-jitsu skills. Turns a Kimura into an armbar, nasty armbar, forcing a verbal tap out of Matt Hughes. It was really like a three-way submission because he started out with a Kimura on one side and a triangle on the other side, turned it into an armbar, got the tap, beautiful submission. George St. Pierre on his way to regaining his title.
Check out the new website at tapout.com, and I think you said it best. George St. Pierre on the way to regaining his title. And if you're Matt Serra sitting home right now, yeah, exactly. If you're Matt Serra right now, what's going through your mind as you get set for the rematch?
Well, you know what? Matt Serra did it before, and I'm sure he believes he can do it again. He's got heavy hands. He's got phenomenal jiu-jitsu, and I just hope Matt's at home right now, resting up. I hope his back is feeling better, and I can't wait to see Matt again in action.
It's not a certainty, but he hinted at it. Matt Hughes, we may have seen him grace the octagon for the final time tonight.
Well, you know, the guy's a winner, and he's used to winning, and when he goes against a guy like George St. Pierre and he gets completely dominated like that, it's got to be rough. I mean, he can't really change his style. He is what he is. He does what he does, and George St. Pierre does it all better. So it's a weird position for Matt Hughes to be in. He runs a full farm. You know, he's got a family. He's already incredibly successful and very wealthy, and has this huge history behind him of success. So, you know, what does he do? Even if he backs out now, he's a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame, and he's one of the greatest MMA fighters in history.
Well, if it was the last time, Matt Hughes, thank you for all that you have done for the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Some said if Chuck Liddell got defeated for a third consecutive time, it might be bye-bye for the Iceman. Well, think again.
Phenomenal performance by Chuck Liddell. It was really vintage Chuck Liddell, and it really lived up to the hype. Sometimes fights don't live up to the hype. This one was that, what was promised, and more. Phenomenal fight. The only thing that was lacking was the knockout, but just devastating action. Chuck Liddell rocked him with a spinning back fist, landed some beautiful combinations, and ultimately got a well-deserved victory.
What a way to finish off 2007, by far the greatest year in the history of the UFC.
And you know what? I think 2008 is going to be even even bigger. This sport continues to explode. The athletes continue to get better. And what you saw tonight in Georges St-Pierre is the future of mixed martial arts. The ultra-athletic competitor who is well-rounded, a guy who has skills in all areas of fighting, in striking, in wrestling, in submissions, and everything. And, you know, it's just a very exciting sport, and I'm so very happy to be calling it along with you, my friend.
Holla, my brother.
Ooh, that's for you too.
Here we go for a final time in 07, and trust me when I tell you, after Joe and I enjoy the new year, we've got plenty coming your way in 08. Here's what's coming up inside the Octagon. Brought to you by Tap Out. Same gear and clothing, different attitude and approach. Check out the new website at tapout.com. Now, don't forget, after the first of the year, the UFC returns to the UK on Saturday, January 19th for UFC 80 Rapid Fire from Newcastle, England. BJ the Prodigy Penn faces Joe Daddy Stevenson for the UFC World Lightweight Championship. Then 4 days later, it's back here to Las Vegas for UFC Fight Night Live on Spike. Mike Quick Swick will face off against Josh Berkman, and Patrick the Predator Cote takes on Drew McFedries Wednesday, January 23rd on Spike TV at 9 p.m. February 2nd from the Mandalay Bay Event Center, it's UFC 81 Breaking Point. Tim the Maniac Sylvia, Antonio Minotauro Nogueira for the interim heavyweight title, and former UFC heavyweight champion Frank Mir faces former WWE superstar Brock Lesnar. And then on Saturday, March 1st, the UFC returns to Columbus, Ohio for UFC 82 as Anderson the Spider Silva faces Dan Henderson. Tickets for UFC 82 go on sale tomorrow at the nationwide arena box office, Ticketmaster.com, and UFC.com. And that's what's coming up inside the Octagon. Brought to you by Tap Out. Same gear and clothing, different attitude and approach. Check out the new website at tapout.com. And don't forget, for all the news and notes, the unseen preliminary matchups, and post-fight interviews, log on right now to UFC.com. UFC 79, Nemesis, lives up to the billing. The executive producers of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, Frank Fertitta III, Lorenzo Fertitta, and UFC President Dana White. Our supervising producer is Craig Borsari. Our producer again tonight, Bruce Connell. Our director, Anthony Pasquale Giordano. Tim O'Toole, our director of production. Alan Connell helps us put it all together. And Joe Silva, well, thank you, Joe, for making it all happen. Lyoto Machida took down Sokaju. Eddie Sanchez uppercutted Soa Palale. Eddie Sanchez, the Manic Hispanic, will enjoy his new year. And then it was the big one. Liddell against Silva. And I will tell you, the stare down intense, the anticipation like never before, and the Iceman as good as he has ever been. Chuck the Iceman Liddell beats Vanderlei Silva in the fight. 6 years in the making. And finally, for the interim world welterweight title, our main event of the evening, completing another great trilogy. Georges St-Pierre and Matt Hughes. St-Pierre leaves with the belt. For my partner Joe Rogan, all of us here at the Ultimate Fighting Championship, Mike Goldberg saying Happy New Year, and we'll see you in 08, right back here, inside the Octagon.